The standings in the Southeastern Conference West show Alabama on top, and they're going for their third straight West title. But if Mississippi State can pull the upset today and beat Ole Miss in their final game and Alabama lose to Auburn, then the Bulldogs will go to the conference championship game. And hi, everybody, and welcome to Starkville, Mississippi. Along with Todd Blackledge, I'm Roger Twidle. Todd, Alabama just doesn't seem to get any credit or recognition around the country as one of the best teams. They're ranked 6th in the nation. All they do is win football games. But you know they do some things very, very well. On offense, they're efficient. They take care of the ball. On defense, they've got a swarming attack and a lot of depth. And third but not least, their special teams create many opportunities.
Well, you're right, Roger. As long as I can remember, Alabama has always prided themselves in having great kick teams, with the idea that through the course of a season, their special teams would win 2 or 3 ball games for them. This year is no exception. They're sound in every area, and they've really excelled in blocking kicks. They have 8 block kicks on the season, and last week, perfect example. They were in a dogfight with LSU early, but this block punt in the second quarter that was picked up and returned for a touchdown turned the game around. Nothing changes momentum more quickly or dramatically in a game than a big play in the special teams. Mississippi State, on the other hand, they're creating momentum and changing it with turnovers. They forced 34 takeaways this year already, and the rest of the team really feeds off of it. 111 points off turnovers. That's 37% of all their points.
6 of those interceptions have been returned for touchdowns, so Jay Barker leads the way for Bama. Derek Tate is the man for Mississippi State. And welcome back here to Starkville. Jackie Sherrill, the head coach at Mississippi State, played his college football at Alabama. And Gene Stallings, longtime disciple of Paul Bryant, made his rounds in the pro ranks before coming to Alabama as the head coach.
And the first coaching decision today for Gene Stallings, does he kick off to Eric Moulds, or does he kick it away from him or try to go with the pooch kick? Eric Moulds, one of the best return men in the country.
Bama won the toss. They deferred, so Mississippi State will receive. Watch to kick it off, and they will kick it away from Moulds. And Kenny Causey's got it on the far side. Causey across the 30, still going. Across midfield to the 48-yard line. Big return for Kenny Causey. Tyrell Buckner was the man that brought him down. This young man had a big day receiving the football against Alabama last year. 51 yards on the return.
Well, they made the decision to kick it away from Moulds, but because Moulds has been doing so good, the whole kick return team has taken a lot of pride this year for Mississippi State, and you can see a great scene coming up the left side of the field. They thought they maybe would get a break kicking it away from Moulds. The decision comes back to haunt them. Not very good coverage on the opening kickoff for Alabama.
Mississippi State, 1st and 10. Play action. Tate looking downfield to Moulds. Ball stripped loose. Fumble. Bama comes up with it. Bama comes up with it. Looked like Damian Jeffries, 91, was the man that came in and stripped the ball loose. And Van Bowden comes up with a fumble recovery.
Well, this is a huge game for Van Bowden. He's a former high school teammate of Derek Tate, the quarterback from Mississippi State. Pretty decent protection right away. Good pressure by Jeffries, and then Tate just makes the bad decision of carrying that ball too loosely. When you're trying to scramble in the pocket, keep the left hand on the football as well. Don't let that thing hang around. Everybody in the country now goes for the strip because of what Lawrence Taylor did in football when he played, and a lot of turnovers are caused by it.
These two teams are known for creating turnovers. You see the Alabama turnover margin as Barker wants to go downfield on the first play. And wisely comes to the near side. Todrick Malone makes the reception. And a gain of about 8 as Charles Davidson makes the stop. Working with us also down on the sideline, former pro tackle with the Patriots and Raiders, Brian Holloway. Brian, we've had some rain this week. What about the condition of the field?
I walked around the field yesterday. I went out there before the game. It's wet. It's wet on the sideline and the end zone. Mississippi State came out. They put their screw ends in, so they're going to have better footing. That's going to give them advantage over Alabama today.
Okay, Brian, look forward to your comments, and welcome aboard. We've had some fast and furious action here in the opening moments from Starkville. As the handoff on the left side, Sherman Williams doesn't find any running room, and Johnny Harris, number 3, makes the stop. Okay, folks, 32-1-1 as a starter at quarterback at Alabama. Namath was 21-3. Kenny Stabler, 19-2. Those are quarterbacks with at least 20 starts. This guy will go down as one of the great ones of all time for the Crimson Tide. just doesn't get a lot of respect around the country.
No, all he does, Al Davis would love him.
Yeah.
All he does is win.
Well, Todd, a lot of people feel he'll play on Sunday.
Homer Smith, his offensive coordinator, one of those who thinks that he definitely has a pro future at the quarterback position.
Third down, let's call it 3. Barker pump fakes. Now he's strapped up and he loses the football. Scott Gamina was the first man in there. They're calling it an incomplete pass as his arm was going forward. Gamina, the senior from New Orleans, came from the outside. And man, have we seen some action from the defense of these two teams.
Well, take a look at the hit on Barker. Now, Gamina is an outside linebacker, but he's really only the size of a defensive back. You can see Barker had to load and reload 3 different times. Really got away with one there. Was very lucky that that was not a fumble. And again, we've seen both quarterbacks a little bit careless with the football in that open hand. Both of them could have come up with turnovers.
On a 4th down, that's Brian Deal back at his 42. Gamina is back deep for Mississippi State to return the punt. And Gamina's going to let it go on a favorable bounce for the Crimson Tide of Alabama, down inside the 5 at the 4. We are underway from Starkville. Derek Tate, the sophomore from Moss Point, Mississippi. You see the first 5 games, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The last 4, 10 touchdowns, 1 INT. And Mississippi State has won their last 4 games. 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line. Handoff will go up the middle. That's Michael Davis, big, strong running back at 6'1", 222 pounds. Sam Shade came up to make the tackle as we check out the rest of the offense for the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. There you take a look at the Mississippi State backs. Bowie, McCrary, Jones, Eric Mold's a great one, and the 299-pound tight end Kendall Watkins. 2nd down and 1. Davis one more time. He's got the first down up to the 15-yard line. I mentioned Watkins, the tight end, at 299. He's just a small guy when you stack them up next to the lunch bunch. They can be your friends, but don't take them home for lunch unless you make plans in advance, because your mom will get mad. 6'4", 321 pounds is what they average.
Biggest line I've ever seen. Everybody talks about Nebraska's offensive line, but they can't be as big as this offensive line.
1st and 10, 15-yard line for the Bulldogs. Davis gets it again. He's got room to the outside. He'll just run over it. Past the 25, up to the 27-yard line, and that was Tommy Johnson, the man that he ran over. And another first down for Mississippi State as we take a look at the Alabama defense. Great depth, great quickness, terrific athletes. Jeffries, Brown, Parker, Bowden, Royal, Walters, and Rogers, the linebackers. Tommy Johnson, Sam Shade, Willie Gaston, Deshae Townsend, the true freshman, starting at the corner. 1st and 10. And to take a look at Michael Davis, senior from Morton, Mississippi, averaging over 4 yards a carry. He gets it again on the right side, across the 35 to the 36-yard line, where Damian Jeffries comes over to make the tackle. I'll take a look at the Mississippi State offense and the Bama defense. Of course, Alabama leads the Southeastern Conference in total defense and scoring defense.
Yeah, scoring defense really the one that sticks out. I mean, the teams that are playing great defensive football, the best thing, I mean, even if you stop people from gaining yardage, you still have to keep them from putting points on the board, and that's the best thing Alabama's doing defensively this year.
3rd down and 3 as Molds will go in motion. Movement on the right side. Looked like Purvis Hunt, number 68. And when that 358 pounds starts leaning forward, it doesn't ever come back.
Yeah, and he's not going to hide from anybody. when Purvis moves illegally, everybody in the stadium is going to see it.
Dick Burleson is the referee.
So far, aside from that penalty, Mississippi State is doing what they want to do in this football game. That's keep it between the tackles, running behind their big offensive line and keeping it in between the hash marks where they think they can beat Alabama, just going toe-to-toe.
Bulldogs have committed more penalties than any other Southeastern Conference team, as on a 3rd and 8, Tate looking downfield and throws behind Molds' intended receiver. Willie Gaston was there on the coverage, so the penalty on 3rd and short knocks him back, puts him in a passing situation. And Mississippi State going to have to punt the football.
Willie Gaston is a very, very active free safety. He likes to read the quarterback's eyes. That time he saw that Derek Tate was looking for Moulds the whole way and jumped on that crossing route and made the nice breakup play.
Sherman Williams back to return the punt. Andy Russ at his 16-yard line. Low snap. And the fair catch called by Todrick Malone. He is hit. So Malone, and a flag goes down.
Well, and again, an over-aggressive penalty. He was down on one knee, and he got hit right at the end of the play. It's going to be a personal foul, a late hit against Mississippi State. And as you mentioned, the penalty problem the Bulldogs have had. Alabama, on the other hand, the least penalized team in the Southeast Conference. Only 37 yards a game they give up because of penalties. And that's a big difference in a close ball game where teams are evenly matched.
So the personal foul against Mississippi State. You see the penalties. Mississippi State has now committed 88 penalties this year. And the yards per game not last, but next to last in the conference at 80.3. And this is Malone with the fair catch. You see, Todd, he signaled it way in advance. And
yeah, not only did he make the fair catch, but he was down on both knees when the contact was made.
That was Clay Mack, who came in late. And on first down for Alabama, going nowhere, is Mike James, one of the inside backers, comes up to make the tackle on that play, and nothing happening there for Sherman Williams. We need the Alabama. Second and 10. 45-yard line. And a confusion there as Barker tried to hand it to Terrence Lynch. It didn't look like Lynch wanted the football. Then he looked at Williams, and Williams wasn't looking at him, and finally he just decided to take it down himself. Well, Sherman Williams, he can paint the football field literally, the way he runs it. Terrence Lynch to the fullback, Malone, Brown, and Patrick Hape, the tight end. They like those colors there, Todd.
That's impressive. Our graphics crew, that is impressive work.
Third down and 10. Out of the shotgun. Barker looking near side, eludes one tackler, now throws it downfield, and the catch was made by Curtis Brown. And while we've got a moment, James Holloway was the man to come up and make the tackle on Curtis Brown. 18 yards on the pickup.
Take a look at Brown. This is a long developing pattern. It's a zone defense. You can see Mississippi State just kind of moving to areas, and the reason that play had a chance to succeed is Jay Barker did a nice job eluding the initial rush, buying himself a little extra time and waiting for that crossing route to open.
Corey Sears was the man that came in, nearly got a piece of him, but a good job by Barker. Those little things is what Jay Barker does so well to create opportunities. On first and 10, they're coming around. This is Chad Key, number 19. Key, the wide receiver, will pull it inside the 20-yard line. And while we've got a moment now, let's send it to New York and say hello to John Saunders. John?
Hello to you, Roger. Kajana Carter fumbles for Penn State on the opening drive. It sets up the Ty Dobbs touchdown from 1 yard out. The first time Penn State has allowed a touchdown in the first quarter all year. Roger.
John, thanks so much. We'll keep an eye on that game. As Mississippi State and Alabama now underway, 8:57 to go first quarter. Chad Key that time on the end around, a former walk-on quarterback who's been made into a pretty good wide receiver, and Barker got him a block on that play. They've got it second and 2 from the 20-yard line. Williams with the football. Well, good job right now as Williams leans ahead and is very close to the first down, as we will show you the rest of the lineups, the offensive line for Alabama. This is a good, steady group. John Stevenson, 69, is the veteran there. He's a versatile guy, can play all the positions on the line. Meanwhile, Mississippi State, Greer, Miles, and Smith up front. But Todd mentioned at the top, 21 interceptions. And it takes a thief, you better believe it. 21 INTs, 6 returned for touchdowns by this group.
Yeah, Walt Harris has 6 this year. He had 6 last year. That's 12 interceptions. He's the career leader at Mississippi State, and he still has a couple ball games left to play.
Williams got the first down, first and 10, 17-yard line. Williams inside the 15 down to the 13 for Sherman Williams, the senior from Mobile. who's rushed folks for over 1,000 yards this year. And Todd, it's amazing, his longest run from scrimmage, 32 yards.
Yeah, I think the best word to describe Sherman Williams' style of running is slippery. I mean, he has the ability to just kind of glide, and then when he sees an opening, a crease, accelerate through the hole. He's not flashy looking, but he is very slippery, and very seldom do you see a defender get a solid shot on him.
2nd and 7 from the 14-yard line. Williams, will they do it again? No, he fakes it this time and cuts it up the middle. Nifty move by Sherman Williams as he gets it down to the 7-yard line. James Holloway was there to make the tackle. He faked it that time to Todrick Malone, and then really on his own got that yardage.
Yeah, and again, you see the ability for him to see a crease. He sees a crease, and he's able to accelerate back across the field. Now, they ran the reverse once for a pretty good gain. This time they fake it, and he can't get outside. Mississippi State does a nice job hemming him in, but when he saw that lane, he was able to accelerate through the lane and pick up a nice yardage.
And John Stevenson, 69, got him a nice block so he could cut it back up the middle, and that's enough for the first down. So Bama's got it moving. 7:22 to go, first quarter, as they are inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line. Gene Stallings, the head coach of Alabama, and Jackie Sherrill of Mississippi State. A lot of history between those two guys when you go back and look at some of the things they've done. 1st and goal, 7-yard line. Williams inside the 5, down to the 3. Big pile there, 95, Corey Sears, nose tackle, and Dwayne Curry, who is their leading tackler. Curry, number 44.
That was a good push by the right side of the Alabama offensive line, John Stevenson and Kareem McNeil over there, because that was basically an 8-man front. Everybody was in tight around the line of scrimmage, and really there were more purple jerseys in there than Alabama had blockers, but Williams did a nice job just kind of finding the crease and leaning forward for a couple yards.
2nd and goal, 4-yard line, as Williams will come back down to the near side. He'll take the ball, looking for something. There's nothing there. 5-yard line. That was Corey Sears and also James Greer, number 90. Greer is a 325-pound defensive end, and Sears goes 275 at the nose.
Yeah, good pressure, good penetration by James Greer. As you take a look at it down at field level, they were in a 3 tight end set. Greer, number 90, is the guy that got across the line of scrimmage, forced the back to cut back in, and that sent him right back into his teammate, the nose guard, Corey Sears.
Sears, a junior college transfer from Navarro JC out in Texas, didn't report to the fall. As a matter of fact, 2 other players, Sears and Cotton, JC transfers, none of them came in until the fall. So they're just really getting themselves conditioned with this team. On a 3rd and goal from the 5, Barker looks back through the middle, and it's knocked down. Knocked down in the middle by Brent Smith, number 91, the sophomore from Pontotoc, Mississippi. 6'6", got his hands up that time and knocked it down.
You know, and there's been a lot of mention made about the fact that Mississippi State only has 14 quarterback sacks on the year, that they haven't been able to get to the quarterback, but they still can make plays. They don't get the sack. They don't even get great pressure there, but Brent Smith is eyeing the quarterback. He gets his hands up and gets the big deflection, forcing the field goal. So you can do more as a defensive team in terms of disturbing the quarterback as opposed to just getting sacks.
Michael Proctor from 22 yards out, and it's good. So Proctor's now hit 17 consecutive field goals from inside the 40-yard line. And Bama gets on the board first with 5:30 left to go, first quarter from Starkville. Roger Schwabel, Todd Blackledge, and Brian Holloway back with you in Starkville. The receive men down there, Causey and Molds. Causey's number 80 to the near side. Now they flip Molds over to the other side. Is William Watts. They call him the Wild Thing. He can kick it a long way. They just don't know which way. And Causey, who had the good return, the 51-yard return to open the game, has got a seam on this side, spinning, and to the 25-yard line before he is brought down there by the Alabama special teams and Sam Shea. Now for Mississippi State. On the 3rd series on offense, they bring in their backup quarterback, Darren Clark, a 6'1 junior from Natchez, Mississippi, has thrown 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions this year. And when he comes in, Dan Hoover comes in at center, Brad Ainsworth at left guard, and Henry McCann at right guard. On 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. up the middle. Kevin Bowie, number 34, gets the call, and Sam Shade makes the tackle. When you can bring in two strong backs like Bowie and Davis, both 225-pounders, and you get some help up front, Ainsworth, Hoover, and McCann come in when Clark does. I think it's good for the quarterback, good for the players, keeps everybody in the game.
Really a good move bringing a center in with him also, because it gives him a chance to work with one guy exclusively and not have a completely new feel for the starting center.
On 2nd and 6, the left-hander will try to go to the far side, and well covered out there in the flat was McCrary, the intended receiver. Brian, why did they bring in the offensive lineman with Darren Clark?
Well, they're going to bring in a player like that in the quarterback when they've got to change the cadence. They want to throw the defense off a little bit. Also, they want to give their big men a little blow in there. They've got two guards who are specialists at pass blocking, and that's going to make a difference.
All right, Brian, thank you. Purvis Hunt at 358 and Wisner at 327. Todd, I would imagine as the season goes on and you get out of that heat of the early fall, these guys are going to play a little bit better at that size. 3rd down and 6. Penalty marker is dropped, and so is the quarterback, Darren Clark, at the 28-yard line. Damian Jeffries was the first man to get to him.
You know, the good thing, and we talked about this yesterday, making this switch and getting your backup quarterback in the game early. It's good because even though he didn't convert this 3rd down play, he at least got hit already in the game. His head is in the ball game, and so in the event that something happens to Tate, and now you have to go with Clark in the ball game. He's been in the game. He's tasted the game action, the game speed, and he's also been hit one time already. So it's really a good practice, I think, to get your backup quarterback in, to keep him involved from the very beginning of the game.
I do too, Todd. I think the more you can get him involved, I mean, it's going to pay dividends down the road. As the penalty goes against Mississippi State, it was declined, and back deep to Shea Townsend, the true freshman, at the 32-yard line to receive the punt of Andy Rust, the sophomore from Nashville, Tennessee, averaging 37.9 yards per punt, and the fair catch called, nearly run into by his own man at the 35-yard line. Alabama leads Mississippi State 3-0. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Beechwood Age Budweiser, it's always been true, as Alabama will take it up to the 36-yard line. Terrence Lynch made the reception. Gamina, number 26, was there on the tackle.
Alabama going a little hurry-up offense here. They're going with calling the plays at the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 10. Lynch gets it up the middle and to about the 40-yard line. Corey Sears, 95, was there to make the tackle.
Well, Jay Barker was calling the plays at the line of scrimmage. Now on this 3rd down play, decided to bring the team back in the huddle. And you can see Gene Stallings is saying you got to hurry up. You're taking way too much time. The play clock running down on him. A critical 3rd down play for Jay Barker.
3rd and 6, and yeah, Barker's going to have to take the timeout. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Beechwood Age Budweiser, it's always been true, this Bud's for you. The Norelco Razor, for our closest shave ever. And the IBM Corporation. Roger Twaddle, Todd Blackledge, and Brian Holloway here with you in the Ville, Starkville, Mississippi. Jackie Sherrill, 4th year as head coach, started at Washington State, went to Pitt, where you competed against him, Todd, when you played at Penn State, Texas A&M. And the 4th year has always been kind of the breakthrough year for Jackie Sherrill. He's got him 7-2, 4-game winning streak, 3 straight in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, his 4th year at Pitt, they were ranked number 2 back in 1980, and then when he went to Texas A&M, his 4th year was 1985, and the Aggies appeared in their first of 3 consecutive Cotton Bowls. So the 4th year has been a very good year for Jackie Sherrill wherever he's coached.
14-14-1 in the Southeastern Conference, and prior to that, in 29 SEC games, the Bulldogs were 3-26. So it's been a noticeable turnaround.
That's what's making the people in Starkville the happiest, is that change in the record against Southeast Conference opponents.
3rd down and 6 after Bama had to take that timeout as Malone comes in motion to the near side. Quick throw by Barker, and he finds number 19. That's Chad Key, and he should have the first down, and he does. And let's send you to New York and John Saunders. John?
Roger, it's more bad news for your partner as this year's version of Todd Blackledge, Kerry Collins, struggling right here as he's picked off by Tyrone Washington. It led to a Johnny Johnson to Ken Dilger touchdown pass of a yard out, and Illinois leads it now 14-0. Roger and Todd.
Thanks a lot, John. How you feeling there, Todd?
Well, I was concerned about that game. Illinois has got a great defense.
1st and 10. That ball was deflected and then caught. Curtis Brown makes the catch. Great job of concentration by Brown as Mike James, number 7, got a hand on it, and Brown was able to haul it in at the 44-yard line. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. And for the 24th year through the Chevrolet Scholarship Program, $1,000 will be donated to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
3 tight end set now for Alabama. They've been showing more and more of this against some of their opponents, and a good power running set for them.
On 2nd and 1, little option as Barker pitches it back to Williams. Williams trying to turn the corner, and that's the thing Jackie Sherrill did not want to happen. He didn't want to let Alabama get to the outside. They were able to do it just then.
Yeah, he wanted to keep the game both offensively and defensively between the tackles, and that time they really used a nice disguise of their coverage. Now, these are the 2 tight ends right here. You'd think they're going to run this way. Instead, they come with the option down the line this way, and they get the big play. Watch the good decision by Barker as he options the end man on the line, Lisi, but they really kind of fooled the Mississippi State defense with the 2 tight ends set to the boundary, made it look like they were going to run that way, came back to the option this way.
Nice block by Chad Key on the outside on 1st and 10 from the 30. Try to hand it to Williams. They were coming hard that time. Mike James, who was inside backer position, was right in there. They were lucky to make the handoff.
Yeah, that was the perfect blitz call at the perfect time that time by defensive coordinator Bill Clay, because James just kind of put himself right into a position of where they were trying to run the delayed draw. That's kind of Homer Smith's version of the Statue of Liberty play. You fake like you're making the 3-step throw and then hand it back to the tailback, but you don't expect the inside linebacker to blitz when you call that play.
Loss of 4 on that play. 2nd down and 14. Showing blitz again. That's James, number 7, who's come up to the line of scrimmage. Barker in trouble and dumped. 38-yard line. 2 men were in there. 54 Al Cotton, one of the guys.
And Larry Smith was the other, or Larry Williams was the other guy. Those 2 guys are pass rush specialists, and when Bill Clay thinks that he can anticipate a pass situation, he wants to get those 2 guys in the game. Larry Williams comes in, and also Al Cotton. They come in to rush the passer, and that time they were both involved on creating the sack.
3rd down and 18. Barker just off the fingertips of the intended receiver Malone over on the far side. Walt Harris was back there on the coverage.
Excellent coverage by Walt Harris. I mean, he turned and ran with the wide receiver, and then the great move that he made is when he saw the receiver, Malone, look for the ball, he turns and finds the football. Now watch, he's not finding the ball yet. He's running step for step, and as soon as he sees Malone turn to look for the football, then he turns, and just with his body kind of works him back to the outside a little bit. Ball was pretty well thrown, actually, by Barker. Threw it to the outside shoulder where you want to, but good coverage down the field by Walt Harris.
Brian Deal to punt it, and Garina back for Mississippi State. This time that finds the end zone, and the Bulldogs will have it 1st and 10 from the 20 on the 37-yard punt. 17 seconds left to go, 1st quarter next Saturday. An ABC college football doubleheader kicks off at 12 Eastern, 11 Central, when Michigan goes up against Ohio State. Then after that, it's regional action coming your way. Auburn, Alabama, Illinois, Wisconsin, USC, UCLA, and Oregon, Oregon State. Check your local listings for the game in your area and call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view. Next Saturday, college football here on ABC Sports. Derek Tate back in the game at quarterback for the Bulldogs. He'll hand it off to Kevin Bowie. Bowie on the outside gets about 8 yards before knocked out of bounds by Deshae Townsend. There's a look at Bowie from Pahokee, Florida, by way of Garden City, Kansas Community College. Injured his knee in the Alabama game last year, but already this year he set a Mississippi State single-game rushing record, 217 yards against Kentucky. 2nd and 2. That's Coleman in motion to the near side. Bowie still on his feet. Finally run out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Tommy Johnson had to carry him out. And there's the strength that you saw of Kevin Bowie. You saw it earlier from Michael Davis. Both 6'1", both about 225 pounds, and strong runners. And we've completed the first quarter from Starkville. Bama leads it 3-0.
A big running play from Mississippi State to end the first quarter. Now watch the block by their senior tight end, Kendall Watkins, as he takes Kelvin Moore, number 95, and just rides him completely out of the play, opening up a big lane on the right side of that Alabama defense. Now take a look at this. At the end of the play, he's out of bounds right there, and the clock operator here decides to go ahead and run the clock down and end the quarter. There were clearly 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds left on the clock.
This is Scott Field, Mississippi State. Handoff up the middle, running hard and still going. Kevin Bowie. I think they've got the running game working right now. They haven't thrown for any passing yardage so far in the game as Tommy Johnson makes the tackle. But, you know, this has been a long dry spell, Todd, for Mississippi State. They've lost 35 of the last 36 against Alabama. They have never beaten Alabama here in Starkville.
Well, watch the block by 66, Jason Wisner. He gets a great stand-up block, and Bowie really running hard. And Alabama maybe has faced more elusive runners than these two guys today, but probably no two guys that run any harder than Bowie or Davis. They're both very physical backs.
1st and 10, 41-yard line. Tate with the pump fake. Now he's going to pull it down and run with it.
You see him protect the ball better that time?
As he got to the 37. Well, this week on ABC's Monday Night Football, be a couple of AFC powers meeting at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh as Jim Kelly brings in the Buffalo Bills to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's ABC's Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Jim Kelly from East Brady, Pennsylvania, so that's a big, somewhat of a homecoming for him. I know he loves going back to the Pittsburgh area to play. 2nd
down, let's call it 7 from the 37-yard line. It's Shaston Coleman in motion to the far side. Bowie gets it again, trying to string it out, and they do. Great job. Now look at Bowie, spins away. The stiff arm. Look at it. Bowie go to the 30-yard line, and he gets a first down. Tommy Johnson finally made the tackle, and folks, you will not see a better individual effort anywhere.
You're not going to arm tackle either one of these backs. You're not going to bring down Kevin Bowie or Michael Davis with simple arm tackles. Take a look at this as this play develops. Now, this play is very well defended by Alabama. They string it out. They force Bowie to cut back, but there's an arm tackle, another arm tackle, and Bowie just keeps fighting. He keeps spinning his body and working and turns it into a good game.
1st and 10, 30-yard line. Tate the pump fake. Now he's looking to go deep, trying to get it to Moulds. Oh, nearly picked off.
Nearly picked off.
Sam Shade was the man back there.
A great job by Moulds because that ball was not anywhere close for him to make the catch. The only guy who had a chance to make that play was Sam Shade, and that's what you want your receiver to do, is to immediately turn from a wide receiver to a defensive back. You can see how Tommy Johnson forced him to the inside. Now Moulds right here goes, he's going for the ball, but he does at least break up the interception. Nice play by Eric Moulds getting a hand on the football and stopping that pickoff.
Eric Moulds, a junior from Lucedale, Mississippi. 2nd and 10. Bowie tackled behind the line of scrimmage at the 31-yard line. The man who got in there to meet him was John Walters, number 90.
Little change up that time by Alabama on this play. They went to 5 down linemen. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all defensive linemen in there trying to stop the running game. Little change up, put 5 down linemen down there, and they get good penetration behind the line of scrimmage. So a little bit of a change up that time by defensive coordinator Bill Oliver to slow this Mississippi State running game down.
3rd and 11. Bulldogs have really struggled. They're 5 of 38 on 3rd down or 11 plus. As Tate gets rid of it to Moles. Look at the speed! Touchdown! On the touchdown pass, and the first completion today for Derek Tate. Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, told us yesterday, we want to get it in this guy's hand at least 7 times. But look at the first time they got it in his hands, touchdown.
He is a young player who Bruce says is still learning how to play. He's still developing, but he can certainly make big plays for this offense.
Tim Rogers makes the point after, and Mississippi State leads it 7-3. Mississippi State 7, Alabama 3 on the Tate to Moles touchdown pass as Andy Rush will kick it off for Mississippi State. Rush also the punter. And Todrick Malone dives ahead to the 22-yard line.
This touchdown occurred because of 2 great athletic plays. First of all, watch Derek Tate buy himself some time and then have the strength as he's being brought down by Kendrick Burton to still get the ball downfield. And then look at the explosion of Moles. As he sees a crease, he really exploded through there. Got a great block by his fullback, Fred McCrary, on that play and takes it into the end zone. He is a big-time, big play receiver.
Southeastern Conference Player of the Week last week against Arkansas. A couple touchdown catches, 7 for 120 yards is on the first play by Alabama. Mike James just came up and put a big-time hit on Sherman Williams.
I like Mike James. He is a very active inside linebacker. Now, he's only 210 pounds. He was actually recruited to come here as a strong safety, but they moved him in to the inside linebacker. They know he's a little undersized, but he has great speed and the ability to run across the field, and you could see it right there as he read the screen. He just was able to really knife in there and make the play.
We're seeing more of that side in college football. A guy who's a safety, moving him up to linebacker. If he's a tough guy, linebacker to down lineman. 2nd down and 15 from the 16-yard line. Barker looking to go deep. Now he throws it deep. Marcel West, the intended receiver, but it was Walt Harris on the coverage as we'll go to New York and John Saunders. John?
Roger, things continue to slide for the number 2 team in the nation. Penn State losing to Illinois. Here's another touchdown, 3rd and 8 at the 12. Look at the time for Johnny Johnson. Just backs up near the 25 and lofts it into the end zone to Shane Fisher. 21-0 now. The Fighting Illini lead. Roger.
Thanks, John. Well, Son, that's a tough defensive football team.
It sure is.
Illinois.
And they really had success against Kerry Collins last year when they played up at State College. So they had to have been coming into this game very confident of their ability.
3rd down and 15. The catch made there by Chad Key. Short of the first down. Andre Bennett put the big hit on him. And the Mississippi State defense comes up, and the crowd here, sold-out crowd at Scott Field, really appreciates it.
Nice play by Andre Bennett, the free safety. They allowed the completion, but he was able to make the sure tackle, and that's what you want on a situation like that. Give up the completion underneath, but you've got to go and make a sure tackle and stop him short.
Brian Deal to punt it, 41.2 average, 4th in the Southeastern Conference, and Bernard Ewell is back to receiver. And Ewell fumbles it, picks it at the 20. And is nailed at the 24-yard line. Down there on the coverage for Alabama, Tony Johnson. Todd, Alabama likes to push him back.
They really do. I mean, you take a look at that graphic. It really is a phenomenal stat. And remember, the opening possession for Mississippi State in this ball game, they had the kickoff return, took it all the way back to beyond the 50-yard line. but they had it one play and they fumbled it. And that's why Alabama can play such good defense. They force teams to work the long field against them on a very consistent basis. That's good special teams work.
1st and 10, 25, Michael Davis. Look at the big man across midfield. They say he stepped out just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. I'll tell you what, these two guys can get to the outside.
Yeah, they really can. And they ran again behind their big tight end. There he is right there, the big tight end, Kendall Watkins. They ran behind him and the right tackle, Melvin Hayes, and they just get a great push. Eric Moulds gets a nice little block on the outside. And I'll tell you what, Jackie Sherrill talked about he wanted to keep, he was a little bit of afraid of the Alabama speed. I think Mississippi State looks quicker than Alabama in this ball game so far.
I agree with you. 24 yards on that pickup, and he'll get it one more time, but he is stuffed there by Paul Pickett, 42, a redshirt freshman from LaGrange, Georgia, who came in to make the stop. Now, Mississippi State's been averaging over 5 yards on first down, so on that last play, 24 yards on the pickup, so important to get that good first down yardage.
And the good running, and it's only going to help quarterback Derek Tate. I would expect in this drive to see them go with a bootleg and let him try to get out on the perimeter. They've been running it well. Fake the run and bring him out on the outside. See if he can make a big play for you.
2nd and 10, 49-yard line. Tate on the play action. Moulds had double coverage that time as Tate will now throw it back across the green and mistake. The ball is stripped loose, but the pick was right there by Cedric Samuel, number 13.
Yeah.
And Mississippi State wants a fumble, and they're not going to get it. Possession will go over to the Crimson Tide.
Well, one of the cardinal rules, and Derek Tate, you've got to remember, is a young quarterback. He's a sophomore. He still is developing and learning. But one of the cardinal rules, you don't really want to throw across your body. Now, he could have dumped it to his fullback right there, but he tried to go all the way back across the field, and that ball just hung in the air, and it allowed the Alabama defense to react. That's a play that he'll learn not to make.
Bad decision because he had been so good in the last 4 games taking care of the ball, having thrown just the 1 interception and the 10 touchdown passes. So 1st and 10 for Jay Barker in Alabama. 37-yard line. Barker being chased, eludes one tackler and throws it to Williams, who makes a spectacular catch at the 47-yard line. Walt Harris was there to make the tackle, and Larry Williams with the pressure that time on Barker that he was able to elude.
But look at the difference between the decision that Barker made when he was flushed out of the pocket and he threw. He didn't throw this one across his body. He allowed his receiver to get in front of him, okay, and then he threw it with some lead on the ball. It's a much easier throw. He doesn't have his initial receiver, but as he leaves the pocket, now instead of throwing it back across his body, he throws it with a little lead out to the outside. A much easier throw to make.
And on first down, pickup of about 3 on that play by Sherman Williams. Leads the Southeastern Conference in rushing and all-purpose running. So Ohio State has beaten Indiana 32-17. And Florida went over South Carolina. The Gamecocks led early in that game before the Gators came back strong. And Tennessee beats Memphis. 2nd down and 8. Williams nailed behind the line of scrimmage, and that was 78. Larry Williams, the JC transfer from Delta Junior College. And we've talked about Sears, we've talked about Williams, we've talked about Cotton. All 3 of these guys, junior college transfers, who didn't come in till the fall, right. So they were behind.
Big difference.
And Sears and Cotton had to sit out last year because of getting their grades and stuff in order. So Williams has really come on strong for him in recent weeks.
Yeah, and it really takes guys like that almost a half a season to just get to the level of playing and used to playing at this type of competition week in and week out. But they are vastly developing into very good defensive football players for Jackie Sherrill.
From the 47-yard line on 3rd and 8, Barker out of the shotgun will roll to his right, hit as he throws it, and the intended receiver downfield never had a chance. That was Curtis Brown, and once again Larry Williams, a 6'4", 275-pound junior with great speed, was chasing after Barker.
Great coverage downfield that time, really by the 2 corners, Charlie Davidson and Walt Harris, because Mississippi State came with a blitz, and it was man-to-man coverage, but Barker had nowhere to go. I mean, he had good enough protection to make a throw, but there was great coverage downfield. He had to throw that one away.
Brian Deal to punt it. Back inside his own 40, Scott Gamina standing back on the 10-yard line. As Deal will angle it to the far side, and it goes into the end zone. So another good stand by the Mississippi State defense, 46 yards on the punt. We've got a timeout with 7:53 to go, first half. Well, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that. Southeastern Conference, appreciate the sign. Mississippi State's done it on the ground so far today. They've rushed for 107 yards, and of course, the big pass to Moulds for the touchdown. They've got it 1st and 10 from the 20 as Moulds comes in motion to the near side, and they will hand it up the middle. And breaking it to the outside is Michael Davis. They just keep bringing Bowie or Davis or Davis or Bowie.
And I think Alabama is going to have to do two things in this ball game to slow the running game down. Number one, they're going to have to tackle better. They're not going to bring these two backs down with arm tackles. And number two, they're going to need to maybe stunt a little bit more with their defensive front. Normally, they're a very vanilla type defense. They line up with 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers and just kind of play come at us. But this is such a huge offensive line that they don't really match up that well.
On 2nd and 5. The big man Davis gets the call again. He'll be close to the first down as Matt Parker, defensive tackle from Lawton, Oklahoma, number 98, was there to make the tackle. And Mississippi State very close to the first down. You know, the Bulldogs have won 4 in a row and 3 conference games in a row for the first time since 1981. And you have to go all the way back to 1980 for the last time that Mississippi State beat Alabama, and that was in Jackson, Mississippi by a score of 6-3 back in 1980, as Fred McCrary, the fullback for Mississippi State, is down. And let's go down and check in with Brian Holloway. Who you got for us, Brian?
I got Hugh Green here, one of the outstanding inspirational players of the Sherrill Academy. Tell me about what the game means to you so far.
Well, you know, at this time, you know, I was looking at the game and saying there's no better place than be on a Saturday, but right here between Alabama and Mississippi State. Me and Coach Sherrill, we've had our relationship for a long time, and I came up here a time before. And he feels right now, I guess, that I'm his good luck charm. So,
did you speak to the players last night at all?
Yeah, I spoke to them and told them about a lot of different things that the word history was circling around, and that didn't have anything to do with them because of them being here now.
Okay.
Today and tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and let's get back to the game.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, Brian, that Hugh Green, of course, played for Jackie Sherrill at Pittsburgh and went on to a great pro career.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw him
Did
in my sleep.
Did he ever get to you, Todd?
I used to see him in my sleep, man. He was a great football player who played. He played with a motor that never slowed down, and I think that was the thing that set him apart. He wasn't, as you could see, he wasn't an exceptionally big guy. He was very strong and very physical, but he played with a tenacity and an explosiveness about him that really set him apart.
From Natchez, Mississippi. No gain as Nakia Greer checked in at fullback to replace McCrary on that last play. So it's 2nd and 10. And up the middle. Spinning. Look at these guys. I'm going to tell you, Davis and Bowie both do a great job of meeting the contact and spinning off the contact. Sam Shade, 31, was up to make the tackle, but the good gain right there by the Bulldogs of Mississippi State and close to another first down. And Jesse James, the left tackle, goes 3:16. Wisner, the left guard, 3:27.
Watch the push on the right side. Just a great job of blocking by the center. The little guy up there, Brian Anderson, number 65. He got a great push, took the nose guard and moved him completely outside of the play. And that enabled Davis to just hit it up in there. And, you know, a lot's been made about the size of this offensive line, but they're also pretty good athletes.
3rd and less than a yard. Looked like Alabama might have jumped as trying to go outside and not getting the first down was Michael Davis, but flags all over the place as Tommy Johnson and Sam Shade make the tackle.
I think it's going to be an illegal motion against Mississippi State because the guy in motion, Tony Buckhalter, he was starting to turn upfield a little bit too early. I think that's what the penalty is going to be here. A little over anxious. He's a true freshman out of Daleville, Alabama, and I think he turned upfield a little bit too early before the snap count.
We have a double foul. We have illegal motion against the offense and offsides against the defense.
Take a look as Buckhalter goes in motion. He's going to get a little anxious and turn up, but at the same time, Alabama is going to come across the neutral zone. So there you can see it, both penalties happening at the exact same time, and a good call by the officiating crew.
Fred McCrary is checked back into the game at fullback. The fullback in this Mississippi State offense actually catches the football more than they run.
And they do that by design because they know he's not going to run it very much, so they throw the ball to him just to kind of keep him happy, keep him interested in this offense.
Third and less than a yard to go. And they'll just go right up the middle that time, and pounding ahead was Michael Davis. In the second effort, looks like he got it, as Paul Pickett, 42, came up to make the stop. So with 5:21 left to go in the first half, Mississippi State leading 7-3. The Tide, they're controlling the tempo of this game.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, this big offensive line is getting a good push on the front four, the front seven, actually, of Alabama. And I like how hard the two guys, Bowie and Davis, run. I mean, that time, Paul Pickett had nice penetration. He was actually stopped short of the first down, but they just run very, very hard.
First and 10, 41-yard line. Derek Tate on the play action. He's got his man, Moulds. Look at him break the tackles. He makes people miss tackles as he goes to the 45-yard line, and a Mississippi State first down. Michael Rogers finally caught up with him.
He makes people miss, Roger, and he also breaks tackles because he's 205 pounds. He's a big wide receiver. Watch the great protection. When you run the football, your play-action protection is outstanding. A nice throw by Tate. Now watch the strength of Moulds. He breaks, just runs right out of that tackle. Then he shakes one man, shakes two or three men, but the initial break was by his strength. He broke away from a tackle, and then he faked out two or three players.
I am really impressed with this wide receiver. He's a junior. And it's first and 10, 44-yard line, and Davis just carries people inside the 40, down to the 38. And coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, John Saunders will have scores and highlights from all of today's action, including that game between Notre Dame and Florida State, which Florida State won. And the Irish with just 2 games to go against Air Force and Southern Cal, and really struggling right now.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, it's been a down year, and one of those years, I think, where everybody realizes they've got a chance to kind of put one on Notre Dame, and teams are really gearing up to beat them this year also.
Second and 4, less than 4 minutes to go, first half. Davis gets it one more time. I'm telling you, that tight end, Kendall Watkins, some NFL team, I don't care whether he catches the ball. He only caught 5 passes this year, but he can block as well as, I think, Brady up at Penn State, who was the best blocking tight end I'd seen this year. There's a look at Watkins.
Well, take a look at the guy now. He's 299 pounds, and watch, he's got great technique. You see how he lowers his butt, he gets his hands to the inside, and then he just takes his man out of the screen. I mean, he stays with the block. He sustains his block. That's great technique, and Watkins could block as a tight end in the NFL. A lot of people have talked about him maybe even being a guard, moving him inside because of his mobility and his ability to run and playing the guard position.
And Michael Davis has moved ahead of Michael Haddix into second place on the Mississippi State all-time career rushing list. He's over 2,500 yards on first and 10, 34-yard line, 3:28 left to go, and Tate was nailed just as he was releasing the football. Michael Rogers, 52, was the first guy in there, and Damian Jeffries, 91, was also there.
I think Alabama's going to have to go to more of an aggressive attacking defense. That time they brought the inside linebacker blitz, and really they can't just stand there or line up in their normal set and absorb the punishment of this offensive line of Mississippi State. They've got to attack. That time they came after the quarterback, Derek Tate.
Second and 10, 33-yard line. Mississippi State has all 3 timeouts remaining as they hand it off, and that's Bowie. Bowie's going. He's knocked out of bounds inside the 10 at the 9-yard line by Willie Gaston. And they give Davis a rest. They bring Bowie in, and he just picks up where the other one left off. And where the other one left off.
I'll tell you what, they are just really working the right side. You can see, watch the push by these three guys as they just take it to the defense now, and they toss back to the tailback. Good block by the tight end. Great block by the fullback. You can see the tight end Watkins is still on his man as Bowie is 10 yards down the field. Great blocking fullback and tight end on the power play.
First and goal, 9-yard line. That time it was Davis. He gets tripped up. 52, Michael Rogers and John Walters, 90. We're there to make the stop as he gets, well, they're going to say no gain at all. They're going to mark it right back at the 9-yard line.
You know, Jackie Sherrill made an interesting point telling us if they could keep the game in tight like that, if they could keep it in the box, they'd have a great chance to win. And so far, they're able to do it because of their great running game.
Second and goal, still from the 9. That's the big man, Davis. Down to the 2, where Sam Shade and Willie Gaston make the tackle. They are doing this on the ground. They're not that concerned about the pass right now because the big man, Michael Davis, looks like he's got his back pad he's bringing off the field.
Look how tight the splits are of Mississippi State's offensive linemen. They are in there toe-to-toe, butt-to-butt, and they are just moving as a big wall, a mass of humanity, and pushing this Alabama defense. The strength of the Alabama defense is their speed. It's not their bulk, and right now they're just getting shoved around all over the field by this Mississippi State offensive line.
Well, on a third and goal from the 3 with 2:05 to go, Mississippi State's going to use their first time out of the half, and probably a good time to take one for Derek Tate, the sophomore quarterback. He's made great strides this year. Todd had an ankle injury earlier in the year, really struggled with it, but is probably as healthy today as he's been all year, and the numbers through the last 4 games, that 4-game winning streak, really show. You know, he set a single-game passing record against Tulane with 466 yards and has really played exceptionally well. Want to remind you tonight, a new version of a Disney classic on the ABC Family movie. Ed Begley Jr. and NYPD Blues Sharon Lawrence star in The Shaggy Dog, followed by The Commish. That's tonight here on ABC.
You know, we're talking in the second quarter here, 2 minutes left in the first half. The second quarter has been a great quarter for Mississippi State. They've scored 101 points on the season so far in the second quarter, and for Alabama, that's been their worst defensive quarter. They've given up 59 points in the second quarter so far this season. So Mississippi State, a good timeout right here to try to capitalize and get another touchdown.
For Tate, during this 4-game winning streak, he's completed 58% of his passes, 220 yards a game, 10 TDs, and the 1 interception. Today, just 2 of 6, 47 yards, 31 of them on the pass and run by Moulds. But this is where Mississippi State feels they can get it done on the ground today with Davis and Bowie.
2 tight ends set in there for Mississippi State.
Moulds in motion on a 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. Davis. McCrary got the handoff. What a fake.
Well, they've been running the play to Moulds with the motion, and they've been giving him the football. They used Eric Moulds that time as a decoy, and they got the touchdown on the hand back to the fullback, McCrary. Excellent design as they fake to the man in motion. Watch the timing. They give it to Moulds, then he gives it back to McCrary. It's a reverse on the goal line, an inside counter reverse. Excellent call by Bruce Arians.
Unbelievable. First rushing touchdown for McCrary this year, and only the 20th time he's run with it as Tim Rogers kicks the extra point. And what a call by Bruce Arians and the Mississippi State staff as they take the lead now 14-3 over Alabama. What a dangerous play.
But they've been working on it all week. I mean, they knew that everybody was going to focus on Moulds. Now watch the ball handling. 1 quick handoff, 2 quick handoffs, and the Alabama defense is following Eric Moulds. It leaves a nice opening on the right side. That's a perfect call. It's a one-in-a-lifetime call. You know, you can run it one time in a game, and they picked the exact right time to call it. 2 clean exchanges. Everybody thinks Eric Moulds is going to run the football, and look at the right side. The tight end Watkins and Melvin Hayes, number 76, just collapsed the right side of that defensive front.
So McCrary, the senior from Naples, Florida, who in his career has caught as many passes as he's run with the football. He had 29 receptions and 29 rushes coming into this game. finally gets to score a rushing touchdown on a beautiful play on a 3rd and goal from the 3. And Mississippi State leads it 14-3 as Andy Russ will kick it off. Little confusion as to who wanted it, and Williams picks it up. Williams across the 25 got tangled up with Marcel West. Well, the Southeastern Conference West today, Georgia and Auburn tonight, Ole Miss Tulane tonight. Arkansas now leading Northern Illinois by 3, and LSU Southern Miss also this evening. And in the East today, Florida has beaten South Carolina, Tennessee over Memphis, Georgia Auburn this evening, Northeast Louisiana beats Kentucky, and Vanderbilt is idle. 1st and 10, 26-yard line. Alabama with 2 timeouts left in this first half with 1:54 on the clock. And the catch is made by Curtis Brown. Knocked out of bounds at the 29-yard line.
Charlie Davidson, the other corner, gambled on that play. He went for the interception. He's got 4 interceptions on the year. Walt Harris has 6, and we talked about this earlier today. Sometimes you get the feeling like you're invincible out there on the corner, and you can make every play. Watch Davidson go for the pick right there. A bad decision, a good throw by Barker, and a great catch by Curtis Brown on the concentration, but sometimes you gamble, and that gamble backfires.
That's a good point, Todd. 54 yards on the pickup for Barker. Their biggest play of the day as he throws it to Terrence Lynch in the middle as he gets down to the 22-yard line. Dwayne Curry made the tackle, but getting back to that situation with Davidson, he has 4 interceptions. Those 4 came in the first 2 games, and since that time, Walt Harris has had 6 interceptions, and we were talking yesterday in our meeting with the defensive people from Mississippi State about that very subject, and when we come back to Starkville, we'll expand on it a little bit more with 1:26 left to go in the first half. This is an excited crowd here at Scott Field, Starkville, Mississippi. Bulldogs lead the Crimson Tide 14-3, 2nd and 4. With 1:26 to go first half and going absolutely nowhere into the arms of Mike James, who's come up with several big plays behind the line of scrimmage. Bama can't get anything done there. I was mentioning, we were talking to Bill Clay, the defensive coordinator, about all the interceptions that they have this year, and was he concerned about somebody trying to make a big play when they shouldn't?
Well, he was, you know, and Charlie Davidson, as you mentioned, he had the picks early. As you can see him gamble. Now, they've had 6 interceptions returned for touchdowns, so not only have they had the interceptions, they've had huge plays off the turnovers, and that time he gambled, and it backfired.
On 3rd and 8, Barker going downfield, got his man inside the 5, Todrick Malone. Malone all the way to the 2-yard line where Walt Harris makes the tackle. Alabama's got 1 timeout left with 45 seconds to go first half.
Nice job by Barker moving the free safety on this play. As he started rolling to the left, the free safety ran out of there, and that left single coverage. It left Walt Harris all alone in the middle of the field with Todrick Malone. Nice job by Barker rolling slightly to his left, moving the free safety out of there to make the throw.
Lynch and Williams, the running back. Williams has got nowhere to go. He's thrown for a loss of about a yard, and I'm going to call his name again, Mike James, number 7. The senior from Pahokee, Florida, came busting through to make the stop. James Greer was also there. These 3 guys up front, Todd, Greer at 324, Miles at 310, and Smith at 293. They take up space.
Right.
They take up the offensive lineman, and then it's the likes of James and Curry that come up to make the tackle.
Yeah, and that's the style of this defense. It's a 3-4 defense, and it's what's known as a gap control type defense, where they just want to absorb blockers and kind of hold their position on the line of scrimmage, tie up 2 men so the linebackers can flow freely and make plays, and you're seeing that today. Mike James really having a heck of a first half here, using his speed and his quickness on the blitz.
Let's set up a little strategy here. 23 seconds left to go. Alabama has no timeouts remaining. It's 2nd down and 3.
I think you've got to throw the football. However, Alabama worked on something in their workout yesterday. I was very impressed with what I saw. They worked on running their field goal unit from the sidelines and lining up and kicking it right away. So they're prepared without a timeout that if they run a play and they don't get in the end zone, to run their field goal unit on, and you need about 15 seconds to do that. That's the timing breakdown to run your team from the sideline and get the kickoff. You need about 15 seconds.
Stallings was trying to do it in 8 seconds yesterday in that practice.
Yeah.
And Proctor's got a very quick step and a quick leg. Second down and goal from the 3. Parker on the rollout, looking for Williams. Touchdown.
Williams for the touchdown. He played 73 yards.
9th touchdown pass of the year for Jay Barker. And for Williams, his second touchdown reception. Barker 12 of 17, 143 yards in the first half.
Alabama's going to go for 2 after this touchdown. Nice play that time. They worked a little 2-man route on the rollout between the tailback Williams and the tight end Rod Rutledge, number 86. And Jay Barker did a nice job just waiting to the last minute, making a nice easy flip. When you're throwing to a running back, you want to just give him a nice easy soft pass that he can catch and run into the end zone.
They put Williams in the slot to the near side. Lynch, the lone back. Barker in trouble and nailed at the 10-yard line by Brent Smith. So the 2-point conversion attempt fails by Alabama. And with 19 seconds to go in the first half, the Crimson Tide has pulled to within 5, 14-9. To Curtis Brown. I want to say one thing about Jay Barker right now. Coming into this year, he had thrown just 12 touchdown passes, 19 interceptions in his career. Now 9 TD passes, 1 interception this year. That was last week against LSU, completing 61% of his passes. So he has really made great strides as a quarterback, and this is senior year. As the kickoff is taken by Eric Moulds, and clock down to 11 seconds remaining.
Very impressive drive by Jay Barker, too. I mean, that was a situation of extreme duress for the Alabama football team. They needed to put points on the board in this first half, and they ran the 2-minute offense to perfection. And I know from my experience with Homer Smith, he's a real stickler with the 2-minute offense. He works on it every day with his quarterbacks, and he gives them different scenarios. You've got a minute and a half left. You need a touchdown. You've got 1 timeout. You've got 2 timeouts. And so they go through the mental gymnastics of the 2-minute drill every single day, quarterback and quarterback coach.
Well, the Bulldogs will just kneel it down here and let the clock run out in the first half from Starkville, Mississippi. And I'll tell you, these Bulldog fans are happy right now. They lead Alabama by 5, 14-9. Coming up is the Prudential Halftime Report. John Saunders will have all the scores and highlights for you.
Defensively, Mississippi State averaging 6.1 yards per rush, 28 rushes, 170 yards. I expect to see Alabama on defense go to more of a bear defense, an 8-man front, try to force the game into Derek Tate's hands.
Andy Russ kicks it off. Todrick Malone will take it from inside the 5. Now he reverses field. And Malone runs out of bounds at the 34-yard line. The kicker was back there, Andy Russ, to force him out of bounds.
Nice move by Malone that time. That looked like it was snuffed out. He really didn't have anywhere to go, and he just exploded to the outside. Take a look at it again as he's going to start. They're returning the ball to the right. Well, now, good coverage by Mississippi State, and he stopped, and the rest of this he gets on his own. He breaks contained to the left side, and again, the special teams in a game of evenly matched teams, plays in the kicking game can oftentimes determine the outcome.
1st and 10, 34-yard line for Alabama as they start the second half, and Barker will send it near side to Curtis Brown. And Brown will be out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Walt Harris was over there on the coverage. And let's check in with Brian Holloway. Brian?
I talked to Jackie Sherrill as he came out from halftime. He said they're going to do the same thing, but you know what concerned him is when they put all those men up on the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him having to open up the passing game the second half.
Okay, Brian, thanks.
Exactly what I thought. I really expect to see Alabama go into an 8-man front and say, if you're going to beat us in this game, Derek Tate's going to have to throw the football to do it.
On 1st and 10, Williams gets it, and guess what? Mike James one more time. He is a terrific, I don't care whether he's a linebacker or he ends up playing safety, he can find the ball carrier and then finish with the tackle.
He certainly can. Dwayne Curry, the guy who's got the biggest numbers, the most tackles, but James is really playing a whale of a ball game today. He's finding the creases and using that speed to run through the creases in the offense and make plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Sherman Williams, 14 carries, 19 yards. 2nd and 10 from the 48. Now Barker's checking off as the Bulldogs are showing blitz. Handoff right up the middle. That was Dennis Riddle, a true freshman from Tuscaloosa, as Brent Smith makes the tackle. So Riddle, a 6-foot, 195-pounder, who ran for over 1,300 yards and 19 touchdowns as a senior at Central High at Tuscaloosa, gets his first carry of the day. Gene Stallings has had a terrific run here at Alabama, and they have had their way with Mississippi State these last few years, but it is hard and it's tough today on a 3rd down and 6 from the 49-yard line of the Bulldogs. Malone in motion to the near side. Barker will swing it out. That's Terrence Lynch, and he is stuffed. Gamina was the first man there, number 26, the senior from New Orleans. And then 2 other Bulldog defenders, Leasy, 94, and Wilson helped to finish him off.
Great play by Gamina. As he ran out, he didn't really make the tackle, but he got to the outside, and he's going to force this play back to the inside. Watch him read the screen, number 26, and as he gets to the outside, watch him stay outside and force the runner back to the inside where he knows he has help. That's his responsibility. Don't let the runner break contain to the outside.
Brian Deal back at the 35-yard line, the fake, and he is dropped. Big play right there by the Bulldogs. Reggie Wilson was the man that read it and then made the tackle.
In his career,
he's faked 5 punts over the last 3 years. All of them have been successful. 2 passing, 3 rushes. Matter of fact, threw a touchdown pass off a fake punt, but nothing going here.
And this one was by design. You can see he was going to run it all the way. It was not because of pressure, but great discipline by the special teams of Mississippi State, and Reggie Wilson making the big play for the Bulldogs.
1st and 10, 40-yard line. Great field position for Mississippi State. And they'll just continue to run the football. Not much going right there for Kevin Bowie, as John Walters, the junior from Dallas, Texas, came from his middle linebacker spot to make the tackle. No gain on that play. How'd you think offensively? Mississippi State just going to continue to try to pound it on the ground, or are they going to try to set something up to get the ball to Moulds?
Well, I think they're going to try to get the ball to Moulds, and I think as Brian indicated from his conversation with Jackie Sherrill, he's fully anticipating that they're going to have to throw the ball a little more in this second half to maintain their lead, and that means get the ball to number 1.
Tate, plenty of time, swings it out to the near side, and that's Bowie. That's a rarity, folks, as Bowie gets close to the 1st down. Had caught but 3 passes coming into this game, so just his 4th reception of the year, as Shane Townsend and Sam Shade are there on the tackle.
Nice read that time by Derek Tate. He was looking for Eric Moulds on this, but Moulds was covered. Moulds is down here. He's going to run a little hitch route, and then Bowie's going to just come out as an outlet receiver. Now watch Tate as he looks downfield. He wants to go to Moulds, but it's not there. He makes the good decision to dump it off underneath to his running back, and he gets very close to the 1st down.
Todd, coaches talk about tendencies. I mean, they go back over play charts all year, find out have they had a certain tendency in a certain down situation, because the other coaches are looking for that too. Right. And just to find Bowie out there and get him the ball when he's only caught 3 passes all year, nobody was near him.
It's called self-scouting, and Bruce Arians, when I met with him in his office on Friday, he was in the process of doing that. And, you know, he's been in the NFL. He was with the Kansas City Chiefs, and so that's very big in the NFL also. Study your own tendencies and then design your game plan with that in mind. You know, if we've been doing something 100% out of certain formations or certain looks, we've got to make some changes, and that was a little bit of a different wrinkle there, throwing to the tailback.
Bulldogs just short of the first down, less than a yard. Third and less than a yard, just underway, second half from Starkville. Right up the middle, and they've got it. Kevin Bowie, no problem. Bowie, it's interesting, and James, both from Pahokee, Florida, both went to Garden City, Kansas Community College, and both come to Mississippi State.
Kind of a roundabout.
Hey,
roundabout route.
Pals sticking together, right?
That's right, and they're both very key contributors to this football team this year.
First and 10, 29-yard line. That's Moulds in motion. And Bowie will take it. I'll tell you, busted through that time, making the tackle, Andre Royal, the senior from Northport, Alabama. First time we've called his name today.
This is what you're going to have to see from Alabama. Defensive coordinator Bill Oliver is going to have to get his linebackers to run through. Royals is going to come from his middle linebacker position. You can see as he reads the play, he just waits for an opening and then shoots right through the gap. And the linebackers for Alabama are going to have to be much more active in this second half, making plays, running through in the running game.
Brandon Mann is checked into the tight end, so two tight ends on 2nd and 10 from the 29-yard line, as Bowie will cut it back and runs into his own big left guard, the Wiz, Jason Wisner, and you run into him, you go down.
Yeah, Jason he's a large fella, you know, and he's such a strong and a powerful player. I mean, Jason is a guy that he was a great power lifter in high school, and you take a look at him, and he has just got tremendous strength. There he is, number 66, got a couple big meat hooks out there.
6'3", 327. He's a fitness management major. Third down and 8. Mississippi State 3 of 5 in third down situations. Tate's going to try to outrun the defense and tiptoes down the sidelines where he steps out of bounds at the 26-yard line. So coverage that time as he was looking for Chris Jones on the far boundary, and the pressure by Cedric Samuel.
Yeah, great call that time. They really came after Derek Tate that time. They sold out for the blitz. They had too many white-shirted defenders coming in there. They couldn't pick them all up, and Derek Tate did a nice job just getting around the corner and making something out of nothing, because he really didn't have time to make a throw.
43-yard field goal attempt as Tim Rogers comes out to attempt it. He's 4 of 6 from 40 to 49 yards. Snap was a bit high, and the kick is wide. So after getting that possession inside the 50, after the fake punt failed by Alabama, Mississippi State cannot take advantage of it. 9:39 left to go, third quarter. The Bulldogs lead it by 5. And welcome back here to Starkville, Mississippi. Jackie Sherrill, Gene Stallings, both former head coaches at Texas A&M, battling here in the Southeastern Conference, as a gain of about 2 on that play, as Corey Sears, one of the first men there, along with James Holloway, number 29, on Sherman Williams. Williams is having a very difficult time finding any daylight.
Yeah, he really is, but he's a durable back, and he's a guy that gets a little bit better the more he gets the football. That time again, Alabama going with the 3 tight end set, trying to get a short corner on the boundary play, but good pursuit by the Mississippi State defense, doing a great job against the run today.
Alabama averaging just over 1 yard per carry as Barker throws it to Brown on the near side, and the catch just shy of the 35. I talked to Jackie Sherrill about coming to play in Starkville.
It's not easy to play here, and you know, even when I remember going back playing, it's not easy to come in here and play. But like I told our squad this week, you know, years ago when I was a player, and it's a long time ago, that we didn't enjoy playing Mississippi State because we knew that it was going to be a physical game, and you know, we were going to get slapped around.
Well, this is just the 12th meeting here in Starkville. Many of the games played in Jackson is on a 3rd and 1. Barker with the quarterback sneak, and Mississippi State says we stopped him.
I think he got it on the initial movement. His first move over the right side of the center had a first down, and then he popped back and tried to go again, and that's when he got popped. But I think he had enough on his initial move to make the first down.
Follow up on that comment by Jackie Sherrill, as they said no, he didn't make it, so it's going to bring up a 4th down. And so Alabama is going to have to punt the football. But anyway, Jackie was saying what it means financially and economically for this region they call the Golden Triangle here to play here and not go down to Jackson where they played many times before. And Tuscaloosa, of course, just about 80-90 miles from here. Yeah. And this has always been a good rivalry as Ewell is back to receive the punt from Deal, who's standing at his 22. Nice high kick there. And at the 30-yard line, Mississippi State will take it. 1st and 10, 7:30 to go, third quarter. Well, there's a look at Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator at Mississippi State. He was a coach here in 1980 when Mississippi State beat Alabama. That was the last time in 1980 in Jackson. The next year he was hired at Alabama, and Emory Millard didn't speak to him for 3 years.
Yeah, Bear Bryant was awfully impressed with what he did as the running backs coach back there in 1980. Now he's back for his second stint here, and they're really happy to have him. He's done a lot for Derek Tate.
Fumble, ball's loose, picked up by Alabama, and taken in by Damian Jeffries. Penalty markers are down. Now, Tate called an audible at the line of scrimmage. There is a penalty marker down at the 30-yard line.
Well, this was not a clean exchange between the center, Brian Anderson, and Derek Tate. The penalty is going to go against Alabama. A big break for the Bulldogs. Gene Stallings not happy with the offsides penalty call. Take a look at this again now. Derek Tate never gets the snap. Watch it come up low, and it's going to go between his legs. He never had a clean hold of the snap, and Jeffries does a nice job picking it up, stiff arms his own man, and then runs through the tackle of Derek Tate. But Alabama lined up in the neutral zone, and that's why the offsides penalty was called. A big, big break for Mississippi State.
Well, that's the first penalty on Alabama today, the least penalized team in the Southeastern Conference. But once again, Tate was calling an audible at the line of scrimmage, and there was some miscommunication. They've got it 1st and 5 from the 35. Clean handoff that time. And up the middle for about 3 is Michael Davis, and Matt Parker makes the tackle.
Take a look again now at the last play, the fumble. There was nobody that jumped off sides, but apparently one of the linemen was lined up off sides for Alabama. Again, a big play by the Alabama defense, all for naught. It goes from a touchdown to a 1st and 5 situation for Mississippi State.
And Gene Stallings is still after the officials. And I guarantee it will be until the end of this game and probably later. 2nd and 2 from the 38. They'll run it one more time, and not getting to the 1st down marker at the 40-yard line is Michael Davis, as the Alabama defense tightening up a bit against this big offensive line and these big backs for Mississippi State.
Much more aggressive approach to the running defense this time. This half by Alabama, they're shooting through the gaps, a little more stunning up front, and the linebackers are starting to fill the holes a lot quicker for Alabama, playing a little closer to the line of scrimmage, making plays.
3rd down and a yard.
5-man front again up there for Alabama on defense.
Trying the left side. Penalty marker goes down as Michael Davis gets across the 40 for the 1st down.
You know who made this penalty call? Gene Stallings. I mean, I'm not saying this in a negative way to the officials, but Gene Stallings was working the officials so hard after the fumble was called back. And this one's going to go against Mississippi State.
False start on the left side of the line, 5 yards.
You know, coming into this game, Todd, Alabama had returned 3 fumbles for touchdowns, and Jeffries had one before. And that's been a big part of this Alabama football team, is creating opportunities to score off their special teams and off their defense.
Their offense is not always the flashiest offense, but their defense and their special teams are flashy. They make big plays. They turn turnovers into points. That time, it went for naught.
3rd down and 6 out of the shotgun. That's Kenny Causey, the motion man. And Tate hanging tough in the pocket. It's intended for Causey. It's thrown by him. And Willie Gaston was sitting right there and had a chance to pick it off and couldn't come up with it.
Derek Travis Haight is going to see this the rest of the game. They're going to come with pressure, and right up the middle, they're going to blitz Derek Tate. They're going to play man-to-man coverage. You can see there's no free safety. It's an all-out blitz. And Derek Tate really could have held that ball a shade longer and made a better throw. He felt the pressure and got rid of it, really threw it off his back foot that time. Didn't have much on the football.
Andy Russ from the 20-yard line will punt it down to Deshae Townsend, who's standing back at his own 29 on a 4th and 6. They were coming hard, and they got a piece of it. And
it's down right there.
It's down back there at the 43-yard line.
It's down right there. It crossed the line of scrimmage.
It did cross the line of scrimmage. Eric Turner looks like he came through and got a piece of it. That would be his second block punt this year.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah,
he got one
exactly. It was last week.
You know, that's a smart play by Gumina, though, because you never know. The official might not see it right. He may make the wrong call. Pick it up and run for the touchdown. But watch, a low snap. Alabama's been close. A low snap. The timing wasn't too bad. But Eric Turner, number 39, comes up the inside and gets a piece of this ball. And again, the special teams for Alabama. Watch Gumina. Now, he's going to pick it up, but because the ball had already crossed the line of scrimmage, it's down by contact right there.
Well, the Tide special teams have now blocked 9 kicks this year, 5 punts, 3 field goals, and a point after. And the last 2 meetings between these teams, Bama's blocked a kick and returned it for a touchdown. And special teams, such a big part, is Barker trying to elude the rush, puts it down, penalty marker is thrown as Barker gets to the 42-yard line, and once again it was 78 Larry Williams who was giving chase.
All the way across the field, it's going to be a defensive holding call on Charlie Davidson, number 5, the cornerback who got beat right before the first half. He was completely away from the play. I think they got him with a holding or an illegal chuck.
Illinois leading Penn State 28-21 as the Nittany Lions starting to come back in that game.
We have holding against the defense. It's a 10-yard penalty, and against an eligible pass receiver, therefore it's an automatic first down.
Yeah, it was away from the play, and again, you know, Curtis Brown kind of got the best of Charlie Davidson there right before the half. Charlie Davidson trying to be a little extra physical with him away from the ball, got caught with the penalty.
The last 4 meetings, Todd, between these two teams has featured at least 1 block kick. Last year, Alabama blocked a field goal, took it for a touchdown, Lemansky Hall. 92, Alabama blocked a punt. That was Antonio Langham who returned it for a TD. 91, Mississippi State blocked the punt and the field goal. And a 90, Alabama blocked the field goal. Has nothing doing right there. That play is stacked up at the 35-yard line. And so now we get Turner blocking the punt here.
Special teams are when you have evenly matched teams that match up with each other physically, the special teams can dictate the outcome of a game. And so far, in Mississippi State and Alabama's case, it's ringing true to form. I mean, the special teams really are the key plays in this ball game. That time, Jay Barker never got the snap cleanly. A wasted play for the Alabama offense.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Williams gets it around the left side, and he is stacked up back at the 40-yard line. Gumina, the senior from New Orleans. Only 6 foot. He didn't weigh more than 190 pounds, and he plays linebacker.
What a great play by Gumina, just stringing the play out. Now, here's Gumina right here, okay? And as you said, he's only 195 pounds. Watch him take the tight end's block and string the play out. String the play out, then get off the block and come in and make the tackle. That is perfect technique by a small guy. And when you're a smaller player, you have to have great technique, and Scott Gumina has great technique.
3rd down and 16. Back at the 39-yard line. 3:48 to go. 3rd quarter. Barker looking down the middle. Nearly picked off but caught. Terrence Lynch down to the 15-yard line, and Dwayne Curry had it there in his hands. It skipped off his hands, and Lynch comes up with a reception. That's the 2nd time today a pass has been deflected, and an Alabama receiver's come up with it.
Well, call Jay Barker lucky or good. Sometimes it's good to be a little bit of both. He kind of eases off on this pass. Now watch Curry. He is right in perfect position. He makes the deflection, and Terrence Lynch is there on the other end of a 24-yard reception.
And that time Mike James came busting through the line, and Barker goes ahead and throws it to Curtis Brown in the end zone. You know, this game, even though Alabama's behind, this is their type of ball game. It's close and low scoring, 14-9. Alabama hadn't blown anybody out except Tennessee Chattanooga, which is a 1AA team.
Get ball foul, offside, defense.
All of their games have been struggles this year. They've all been battles. Their average margin of victory is about 9 points a game. And that's why I think people around the country don't give them the respect that they feel they should have.
But when you play to your defense and when you play to your special teams, you're going to play in a lot of low-scoring games.
1st and 5, and that was Lynch that gets it to the 9-yard line.
Again, Jay Barker does so many of the little intangible things well. Last play on the offsides, the snap count. He drew the Mississippi State defense offsides. He does so many little things well that you can't measure, you can't evaluate. Things like the snap count, the ability to just buy a little extra time, elude the rush, to create a play. Jay Barker's been doing that his entire career at Alabama, and people in Alabama really should know what they've got with Jay Barker. They should respect him a lot because he does nothing but win or find a way to win games.
2nd and 5, Williams gets the handoff, trying to turn it, and he slips there on the outside. We talked at the top of the day about the field and maybe being a little bit wet and such. We haven't seen that many people slip. That's one of the rare ones there today.
Yeah, and Brian said in his opening report about the field that the Mississippi State players were wearing cleated spikes on their shoes, which normally give you a little better grip. The Alabama players wearing primarily molded cleated shoes, which are better on dry surfaces, and you can see the cleated bottoms and the molded bottoms. A couple players for Alabama have the cleated shoes, but the majority of their players are wearing molded shoes. A little tougher to stand up with.
3rd down and 6, Alabama 4 of 11 in 3rd down situations. Barker wants to throw it. Double pumps, finds a man open, touchdown! Todrick Malone.
Going to go for 2 again, but credit the offensive line of Alabama because Jay Barker that time stayed right in the pocket and was able to come off of his first and his second receiver and come back across the field to find Malone. Watch this protection. Guys like John Stevenson, 69, up there giving all kind of time to Barker. Never leaves the pocket. Comes off his first 2 receivers, and then the underneath route, Malone against the linebacker, Curry. That's a mismatch that favors Alabama.
And Curry, the man that had the interception go off his hands, and Alabama able to continue the drive on a 3rd and 16, was there, couldn't get up to Malone, his 5th career touchdown catch, and Barker now 17 of 22, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns, as the Crimson Tide will go for 2. They missed their earlier 2-point conversion attempt. Barker throws this time, and it's no good. The pass intended for Curtis Brown, so with 1:47 left to go 3rd quarter, Bama leads the Bulldogs by 1. Well, it's time for our flashback. And last year at Tuscaloosa, Alabama and Mississippi State were in a dogfight. Late in the 3rd quarter, State was attempting a game-time field goal, but Darrell Blackburn blocked it. And Lemansky Hall returned it 60 yards for the touchdown, the first blocked field goal to be returned for a TD in Bama history. Alabama never looked back. They won it 36-25.
Well, we've seen the big special teams play already now. The blocked or deflected punt by Alabama. Now they must cover this kick. They've got to keep their discipline on the kickoff coverage against Eric Mould.
Watts hits a short kickoff, and one of the upbacks picks it up and brings it to the 34-yard line. It was Tony Buckhalter, the freshman. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. And the beer that's colder, bolder, yet smooth as ice, Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. Roger Twyble, Todd Blackledge, and Brian Holloway with you from Starkville, Mississippi. We've got a great football game. Alabama leads it 15-14, 1:42 to go 3rd quarter, as Moulds will go in motion, and they would like to try to get the football in his hands.
Throwback.
Yep, they throw it back here to McCrary. Cuts it to the outside, and McCrary gets it to the 49-yard line. Pickup of 14, a first down, as Willie Gaston makes the tackle.
I'll tell you what, Jason Wisner made a great block, just enough of a block to get the play open for McCrary. Take a look. Here's Wisner, the left guard. As he goes out, they set up the screen. He gets a piece on the down block. Now watch as he just gets a little chip of a block. 66, enough of a block just to knock Michael Rogers, number 52, away from the play. And when you're that strong, all you need is one arm to knock him away.
Tate now, they're going to throw it near side. The intended receiver there was Kevin Bowie. You know, I asked Bruce Arians yesterday, I said, will you throw a lot of screens and do some stuff like that? He says, you know, we can't get those big offensive linemen outside and let them run too much, or they're going to die on us.
Well, if you ran a screen, if you run 2 screens in a row, if they would have completed that and had to run 2 screens in a row, they'd have had to bring half those guys out.
Well, what they do is they bring out their center, Brian Anderson, and he'll come out on the screen and block downfield. He's only 285 pounds, so...
And when they run the counter trap, they also like to pull their center, too. He's got 4.8 speed, and both tackles are 4.9. The other 2 guys, not quite as quick.
On 2nd and 10 from the 49, look at this cut by Bowie. Still going. All the way down to the 33-yard line, Kevin Bowie.
Again, take a look as it comes at us. The great block, the turnout block by the left tackle, Jesse James, number 72. They get a good down block by Jason Wisner, but really Jesse James, the left tackle, a great block on the outside. Bowie cuts in, and for Bowie now 12 carries, 95 yards. Mississippi State picking up where they left off, running the football between the tackles.
1st and 10, 32-yard line. I'll tell you, Molds did a nice job blocking downfield that time as they'll send it right up the gut, and Bowie gets about 4. There's a penalty marker down over on the far side of the field. You know what? Some folks don't get excited about running and blocking, but you can't help but get excited watching the way Mississippi State does it, because they've brought blocking to a new art form.
Yep. Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, we down.
Well, this week on ABC's Monday Night Football, AFC powers will collide at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. It'll be the Pittsburgh Steelers playing host to Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills. Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on ABC. So the penalty against Alabama, 1st and 5 from the 27-yard line. Tate looking for Molds. Waited maybe just a little bit too long. Look at him, lead, touchdown! Oh, goodness, what a play! Derek Tate got nailed. Able to get rid of the ball, and the leaping Eric Molds with his 2nd touchdown reception of the day. Todd, I said maybe he waited a moment too long. He didn't.
Look at Derek Tate. He's going to Molds the whole way. Now he gets leveled after he makes this throw. But watch Molds measure the ball and then go up at the very top of his jump and catch the ball. Neither Alabama defender ever even got off the ground. They were in position to make the play, but Molds is the only one that went up and made a play on the ball.
He's touched the ball 3 times today. He's got 2 touchdowns.
He is a prime-time player for Jackie Sherrill. Maybe, and as Jackie said, he's still a young player that's learning and developing as a receiver. Last year, he pressed real hard, Jackie said, and this year, he just has had a great attitude. He's relaxed, and he's making plays every ball game.
We got a timeout down on the field as Mississippi State has taken a timeout. There's a look at Molds, who came into this game with 34 receptions for 717 yards. And let's bring you up to date on some ABC programming. Another Bulldog casualty. They're going for 2, Todd.
Watch the throw to the fullback. Watch the fake to Molds again.
Got him open if he can get it there. He does to Molds. 2-point conversion. Oh, strut it. And walk it. And I'm sure he's going to talk it.
Well, he has got a lively personality, and he rightfully should be celebrating because he is playing a whale of a ball game. He hasn't had great numbers in terms of the amount of times he's touched the ball, but when he has touched it, he's had that Midas touch. Everything he touches is turned to gold for Mississippi State.
2 touchdown receptions in the 2-point reception.
Derek Tate, after taking the tough shot on the touchdown throw, shows good fortitude to come back and make the clutch throw on the 2-point conversion. They brought Molds in motion, then worked him back to the outside.
Back to a 7-point game now at 22-15 after Alabama's missed on 2 2-point conversions.
But take a look at the touchdown throw again. Now Moulds is out to the right of the screen. You can't see him, but he's going to come in motion, and Derek Tate is going to just roll a little bit to his right, and he's looking for Moulds all the way. Now here's Moulds going to cross your screen, and you can see the ball hangs up in the air, but watch Moulds go up just like he's going up for a rebound, and he was double covered, but he was the only guy that went up and made the play. That's just great effort by the wide receiver Moulds.
That was Ozell Powell that came in and got the hit on Derek Tate, who really stood tall in the pocket, hung in there, knew what he had to do, and just knew if he could get it in the air, his man would make the catch as Russ kicks it off deep in the end zone, and Alabama will bring it out to the 20. 20 seconds left to go in the third quarter. This has been some kind of game. Well, there's an interesting stat on Gene Stallings' tenure at Alabama. Since giving up 27 points in his first game, a loss to Southern Mississippi, 27-24, the Tide's 40-0-1 when scoring 17 or more points. Now, they're on 15, and that's a testament to their great defense over the past few years. Illinois, 31, Penn State, 21. Looking for the upset in Champaign. First and 10, 20-yard line. Barker will come near side. That's his tight end, Haight. Patrick Haight makes the catch and gets it up to the 27-yard line where Johnny Harris, the strong side safety from Chicago, Illinois, makes the tackle. Haight's good size at 6'4", 240. Just his fourth reception this year. And we'll return with more action between Alabama and Mississippi State after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Here we go, fourth quarter from Starkville. Alabama trying to get something going with the running game, and Sherman Williams, who struggled all day with a nice pickup there on 2nd down and 3, as James Greer and Andre Bennett make the tackle, and Alabama's got a first down.
That time Alabama did a much better job picking up the inside blitz. Mike James came on the blitz, but they picked him up. Take a look at the numbers after 3 quarters. Again, the rushing yards is what stands out for Mississippi State. 198 yards and a couple big pass plays to Eric Moulds.
Interception over on the far side. Penalty markers are down as Walt Harris picked off the pass, which would be his 7th of the year, but the flags were down and Barker went ahead and threw the football.
Well, he did that once before, and it's okay to do it, but don't underthrow the football, because what he's going on is the fact that it was an offside.
On the defense, 5-yard penalty.
Apparently, they made contact when they came across the neutral zone. If he doesn't make contact, then this play can still be run, but watch as he comes off sides. Reggie Wilson, he's in the neutral zone. Then Lisi's offsides. The play is ruled dead right there by the official.
Mississippi State, 6 penalties, 45 yards. That's about 35 yards below their season average as they'll run it right up the middle, and finally Williams has got some room across midfield down to the 47-yard line. Andre Bennett made the tackle, and he has struggled all day, but Sherman Williams with his longest carry of the afternoon.
Well, they finally got a nice seam on the inside. They came with the inside blitz again. As you take a look at it, look at that hole on the left side. Great block by the left guard, Maurice Belzer, number 64. They collapsed the inside of the defense. 2 inside linebacker blitzes took themselves right out of the play, and Williams comes up with the big run.
As Barker checks off on a 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line, Williams is driven back, bounces off the tackle, trying to get to the outside, and is to the 45-yard line, and there is a man down, Jimmy Miles, who made the contact at the line of scrimmage with Sherman Williams, is down at the 47-yard line.
I used the word earlier in the game, slippery, to describe Sherman Williams. That's a perfect example there. He gets hit, he bounces, he gets to the outside, then he slides between a couple defenders and picks up 4 yards. I mean, it wasn't a real flashy play, but you never get a real direct hit on the guy. He just kind of turns, he gives you a hip or he gives you a shoulder, and he makes a lot of yards going forward.
Williams, 20 carries and 39 yards, and you know, it's interesting to note in the great tradition of Alabama football, only 1 of 4 Crimson Tide players to ever rush for 1,000 yards is Sherman Williams. Bobby Humphrey, Johnny Musso, and Suran Stacy are the others. 13:48 left to go.
Miles, number 98, the nose guard. He makes a good play fighting off the block, but he's going to go head-to-head
And on a 2nd and 6, nowhere to go that time for number 45, Taryn Lynch, is Larry Williams was once again in there. Number 78, and Corey Sears, who's come in at nose tackle to replace Jimmy Miles. So the two JUCO transfers, Sears and Williams, team up. And now Alabama with a 3rd and 6 at the 45-yard line of Mississippi State.
And in a definite pass situation, Mississippi State substitutes Michael Lindsey and Wesley Leasy. They'll play the outside rushers.
He wanted to go with the shovel pass. Now Barker swings it back in the middle, and it looked as though the ball hit the ground. Let's see if they call it a completed pass. It appeared to me that the ball did hit the ground, but they're going to give him the reception. It's not enough for the first down.
You're exactly right. They wanted to go to the shuttle pass to Taryn Lynch, the fullback. It was not open, and Jay Barker just tried to create a play, tried to make something happen, finding another receiver on the play. But good defense, good discipline by the Mississippi State defense.
Some confusion on Mississippi State now. They've only got 10 men out on the field as Deal sends a short punt to Gamina, who makes the catch at the 15-yard line. Timeout. Mississippi State leads Alabama 22-15.
That last key 3rd down play, Jay Barker's going to drop, and they're going to try to run the shovel pass right here to Lynch. But this man, Wes Leasy's going to make a great play. Watch him come on the pass rush, and then he's going to read the shuttle pass and just kind of drift back into the middle and get right in between the quarterback and the fullback, forcing Barker to go somewhere else with the football. A nice read that time by the pass rusher, Wes Leasy.
1st and 10, 15-yard line for Mississippi State. That's the motion man. And nothing going on that play right there. Michael Davis was the ball carrier, and he was met by Michael Rogers as Bernard Ewell lined up in the backfield that time, the wide receiver, and went in motion. Tomorrow night is a $100,000 giveaway night on America's Funniest Videos, followed by new episodes of On Our Own and Lois and Clark. Then Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Joe Pesci star in the action movie that spun all the way, Lethal Weapon 3, the network premiere tomorrow night on ABC. Loss of 3, 2nd down and 13. And back on the 13-yard line, and that's Ewell once again. And they're doing something, Todd, that we haven't seen, and it doesn't appear to be very effective. Another 3-yard loss.
Well, Alabama is getting much more aggressive in their defensive approach to the running game. They're stunning more, and their linebackers are becoming more active. They're running through the gaps, and they're running in between the lanes of these big offensive linemen of Mississippi State.
Well, the Alabama defense really gets tough down the stretch. Their opponents only 6 of 33 on 3rd downs in the 4th quarter this year. That's 18%. And the Bulldogs now with a 3rd and 15.
And they've only given up 1 touchdown in the 4th quarter this year also.
Last week against LSU.
Go it, Tate.
Tate trying to get it outside, gets a block, and runs to the far boundary where he's collared out of bounds at the 17-yard line by Deshae Townsend.
You talked at the top of the show about the speed of the Alabama defense. That was a perfect example because Derek Tate has 4.5 speed. His ankle injury is just about completely healed, and so he's not hampered at all. He sees man coverage. He takes off. He thinks he's going to make a first down, but watch the run. Watch the pursuit of all of the Alabama defenders, linebackers, DBs, and linemen running hard to the sideline, stopping Tate short of the first down.
Andy Russ inside his 5-yard line, and Deshae Townsend back to receive the punt. Bama should get good field position. Nice punt right there by Andy Russ, and Townsend back at the 39-yard line. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Lexus, makers of the faster and roomier 1995 LS400. Duracell batteries, the copper top tops them all. Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown. And Siemens, for leading-edge technologies in electronic and electrical engineering. Depend on Siemens precision thinking. 44 yards on that punt, and a big one by Andy Russ. 1st and 10, 40-yard line for Alabama. Barker on the play. Action's nailed at the 32. Guess who? Larry Williams. He's been a factor all day for the Bulldog defense.
Larry Williams is a thick player. He's 6'3", 275 pounds, but he's got a very quick first step. He's just going to split right between the down block. Take a look as we look at it ground level. Larry Williams, there was actually 2 bodies on him, and his quickness just got right through that double team and made the sack right up the middle.
His second sack today. He's got 5 on the year from Moorhead, Mississippi, by way of Delta Junior College. Second down at 16. Parker picked off by Dwayne Curry. He got it, folks. Earlier tonight, he let one slip through his hands. 22nd interception on the year for Mississippi State. And for Dwayne Curry, his 3rd interception of the season.
They tried to go with a little bit of a trick play. They faked the draw out of the shotgun. Watch Barker's going to fake the draw to Lynch and then try to run a little pop pass to the slot receiver. But Curry right on the spot. It was not open. Probably a throw that Barker should not have made. He doesn't make many bad decisions, but that was a bad decision. Curry right there for the interception.
He's made some bad decisions against Mississippi State because the last 2 years he's thrown 2 interceptions in each of the games. So this is the 5th time Mississippi State has picked off a Jay Barker pass. 1st and 10. Handoff now coming around the right side. That is Michael Davis. And pounds his way down to the call it the 24-yard line, where they're going to mark it. Matt Parker and Willie Gaston make the tackle.
Again, they're running behind the big offensive line to the right side. They're attacking the side of Shannon Brown and Damian Jeffries on the defensive front of Alabama. They're running behind their tight end, Kendall Watkins, and Melvin Hayes, their big right tackle. Roger, now would be a perfect time to go with a play-action bootleg and let Tate get to the outside, try to make a big play.
Davis, 19 carries, 109 yards. And this time, Bowie will go to the outside. Bowie knocked out of bounds finally at the 6-yard line. Tommy Johnson had to save the touchdown right there. As Bowie looked to the middle, it was stacked up and popped it outside.
Eric Moulds came in short motion. He came to the right to the edge of the tight end and made a great block as he just sealed the corner for his tailback, Bowie. Bowie now 112 yards on 14 carries. Davis 19 carries, 109 yards. They're doing it the way that Jackie Sherrill wanted, keeping it between the tackles, playing cheek to cheek.
1st and goal, 6-yard line. Bowie is the setback. He's got the football on the right side and leans inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. Bowie came into the game with 632 yards rushing. Davis came in with 683 yards rushing. They're interchangeable, folks. One's just as good as the other.
Yeah, they really are, and they're both such physical guys. I mean, they both have speed, but you can see as Bowie's coming out of the game and Davis comes in, not only do they run the same way, but they have the ability, because they can sub for each other, to get the rest, to come in with fresh legs on a consistent basis.
Remember Barker's 1st interception of the year last week against LSU, so now 2 this year. On a 2nd and goal from the 4, Davis has the football. Boy, what a good tackle right there by John Walters, the middle linebacker, the junior from Lake Highlands High School in Dallas, Texas.
Watch John Walters. He's the middle backer. He's a big guy, 6'2", 240, and he's just going to scrape off this play and knife right through the offensive line. He was not blocked, and a good sure tackle down at the legs of Michael Davis.
That's where you got to tackle Davis, right?
You can't arm tackle him. You can't hit him up high in the chest area.
You got to go for the skinniest part of his body, which are his ankles. 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line out of the shotgun.
Watch the quarterback draw here.
Fake handoff. Tate trying to throw it down the middle. Looked like he was looking for Brandon Mann, one of his tight ends, but Michael Rogers was giving him a lot of pressure. And this will bring up a field goal situation for Mississippi State with 8 minutes left to go in the game and a 7-point lead. Jim Westbrook's going to put it down at the 11-yard line, make it a 21-yard attempt. And it's good. He's a perfect 6 of 6 from inside 29 this year. And with 7:57 to go, the Bulldogs lead it by 10. Send it in. Enjoy your college football. Andy Russ to kick it off. Line drive blast. It goes out of bounds.
Was offsides on the kickoff. The left side of their kickoff coverage team was offsides. They threw the flag right away. Now a decision. Do you take it out of bounds on the kick, or do you make them kick it over again? Gene Stallings can start on the 35-yard line or force him to kick it again, try to get a better kickoff return.
I was asking Gene about that yesterday, and his inclination seemed to be to take a penalty. We were talking about kicking the ball to Molds, and he says, nah, kick it out of bounds. He said they probably just take the penalty, but...
We had offsides against the kicking team. Kick went out of bounds. It'll be first down on the 35.
So they'll take it first down on the 35-yard line. 7:57 left to go. Mississippi State has never beaten Alabama in Starkville. 11-0. They have lost 35 of the last 36 games to Alabama. Can Barker pull out a comeback victory? Not right now. He is nailed back at the 28-yard line. Brent Smith, 91, and Larry Williams, 78. We're both in there. And let's check in with Brian Holloway. Brian?
He said, we got plenty of energy left. They're psyched up. They're enthusiastic. The coach is telling them, don't give up now. You got to stay strong and finish these players. They can feel the victory is close.
Okay, Brian, talking about that offensive line, that huge offensive line, the biggest in college football for Mississippi State. Loss of 7 on that play. Second down and 17. Barker out of the shotgun. 3 receivers out to the right side, and Barker will throw it back underneath. Malone makes the catch, eludes 1 tackle, but he can't escape them all. At the 23-yard line, Reggie Wilson, Johnny Harris, and Walt Harris. And Reggie Wilson shaking his head, saying, no way.
But they're playing with a lot of enthusiasm right now, and really the guy that's responsible for creating the enthusiasm is Larry Williams on the inside. He is really becoming a handful for the pass rush, and you can see they force the underneath throw, and then they come and they swarm to the football. Walt Harris doesn't get the tackle, but he slows him up, and then 4 other maroon jerseys are there to make the tackle.
Third down and 17. Bama's 5 of 13 on third downs today. 6:42 left to go. Barker's got to come up with a big play. And what a play right there by Marcel West. He's got the first down at the 46-yard line.
Heads-up play by Marcel West, knowing what he had to get for the first down. He went 1 yard beyond the first down marker. This time they took 2 offensive linemen and they blocked Larry Williams. They took the center and the guard, and they double-teamed on Larry Williams. Barker had just enough time to make the throw, and Marcel West down to both knees, but he was 1 yard beyond the first down marker.
Just his 3rd pass reception of the year. First and 10, 46-yard line, as Barker slings it near side to Curtis Brown. Brown at the, let's see, they mark it 44-yard line there. So Barker putting a little something on those passes now.
Mississippi State is not in a prevent defense, but what they are doing there, they're going to concede some of the short throws and try to keep the clock moving and the ball in play. Take a look at Jay Barker. This one he kind of slings, a little sidearm, a slight sidearm underneath the rush, but it was on the money.
Williams, the ball carrier, he's got the first down as he gets it to the 42-yard line. Corey Sears, number 95, was there to make the tackle. Maybe the pass will open up some running lanes for Sherman Williams.
Mississippi State has done a great job ganging to the football. I mean, their linebackers, Mike James and Dwayne Curry, have done a great job running to the football and stuffing the running game. And really, the game now falls into the hands of Jay Barker. He's got to win it throwing the football.
On first and 10 from the 42, going downfield and just overthrown Marcel West, the intended receiver, and Walter Harris, who had 2 picks against Alabama last year. He's tied for first in the Southeastern Conference and 3rd in the nation with interceptions with 6.
Watch Walter Harris now. He knows that he has safety help to the inside. So right at the last minute, he's going to flash in front of the wide receiver. He doesn't get the interception. He doesn't even get the deflection, but just his body flying across the vision of the wide receiver makes it very tough to come down with the catch.
All-time leading interception man for Mississippi State with 12. On a 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line. Barker pump fakes. Now he goes to Brown's. Got him! Touchdown! Beautiful play by Jay Barker on the pump fake, and then hit the streaking Curtis Brown for 42 yards. How do you like that, Todd?
They went right back after Walter Harris. This time Barker's going to go with the pump fake. Now, when you have a good cornerback, they can bite on pump fakes. They want to come up and make a play. This time Harris bit on the pump fake. The safety came too shallow to help the cornerback out, and it was a nice throw and catch, Barker to Brown.
Nice throw. That was a great throw.
Yes, it was.
Didn't break stride, right on the line. Proctor in to attempt the point after. And 92 straight point afters for Proctor. And with 5:20 left to go, Mississippi State's lead is down to 3. Welcome back here to Starkville. Roger Twibell, Todd Blackledge, Brian Holloway. 5:20 left to go. Alabama's pulled to within 3. Barker, 23 of 30, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Homer Smith described him the best. He said he plays to the needs of the moment, and right now the need for Alabama is for him to win the game throwing the football.
Watts with a high, deep kickoff as Eric Moulds, who doesn't get a chance to take him back very often and averages over 34 yards a return, has to down it as Barker 32-1-1 as a starter. And with 5:20 to go, Alabama with all 3 timeouts remaining, but you got to figure right now, Todd, the running game of Mississippi State is going to be the determining factor in the outcome of this contest.
Yeah, and the burden now really falls on the other quarterback, Derek Tate. He's got to run the show for Mississippi State. They're probably not going to be able to run the ball every single time. He's going to have to protect the football and make some plays. 1st and 10 from the 20 as Moulds went in motion. Nowhere for Bowie as he tries now to go back outside and loses about a yard. And let's send you to New York, find out what's going on in that Penn State-Illinois game. John?
As in your game, the team that's favored is starting to fight their way back, Roger. Penn State and Illinois, that's Brian Milne bowling his way in from 5 yards out. Now just a 3-point Illini lead. Roger.
John, Todd's feeling much better, I might add, at the moment. Loss of 1 on that last play. Worse than that, he went out of bounds and stopped the clock.
Yeah, that was a big help for Alabama.
I mean, that's a senior shouldn't make a play like that, but if he can come back and make something like this, and look at this guy going. He's up to the 27-yard line. Pickup of about 8 on that play before Kendrick Burton and Shannon Brown make the tackle.
Take a look at this offensive line, the right side. Look at the tight end again. Kendall Watkins, the fullback, gets a great block, and then Bowie does the rest of it, breaking tackles. You can't tackle him chest high and hope to bring him down.
3rd down and 3. This is the biggest 3rd down play of the game for Mississippi State. As they'll give it to Bowie, trying the right side, and Alabama comes up with Matt Parker, 98. And Sam Shade coming in to make the tackle. And as the game progresses, as we mentioned a moment ago, and 4th quarter comes around, Alabama's 3rd down defense gets so much tougher.
Yep. And Mississippi State did not convert that 1st down running the football, but still, that's their 46th run of the game. And you can see that when they run it 45 times or more, they're 17-0-1. So the game is definitely going the way that Jackie Sherrill wanted it to go today.
Andy Russ inside his 15 will punt it down to Deshae Townsend. They've got a return on. It's a low line drive kick. If Townsend takes it to 32, he slips 1 tackle. He's got a seam on the outside, can't quite get there as a penalty marker goes down. As Townsend, the freshman, took it up to the 48-yard line.
Jackie Sherrill's halfway out on the field signaling that the penalty's got to be against Alabama. He doesn't want to see Alabama start with good field position after this return. Making sure his captains know, let's move them back. If the penalty's against Alabama, move them back as far as the refs will push them back.
3:41 left in this football game.
A lot of time. Again, we mentioned how Homer Smith, the offensive coordinator for Alabama,
One of his real pet peeves is the 2-minute offense, clock management, working the clock, knowing the situations, knowing what you need.
Illegal block in the back. It's the return team, 10 yards, first down.
Now remember, earlier in the game, as Stalin sort of shakes his head, the fumble that Jeffries picked up and took in for a touchdown that was nullified because of the penalty. Now, what would have been great field position up at the 48 moved back to the 34. As you saw the Alabama coaching staff right next door to us. 3:41 left. First and 10, 34-yard line. Mississippi State 25, Alabama 22. And the guys who moved the chains were a little late in getting back. I don't know what they were doing still back at the other end of the field. But the officials have got them in place.
And Mississippi State has their pass rush defense in. They've got Wes Lisi and Michael Lindsey, the two outside guys, and on the inside, Corey Sears, and also he's joined in there with Larry Williams. So this is their version of a nickel defense where they bring their best 4 pass rushing people in, expecting that Jay Barker's got to throw the football now.
Barker's going to roll it to the right. On the run, he throws it to Brown. Great catch over there. And he's got the first down at the 45-yard line. And if time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. That's coming up after the game, time permitting. So Barker throws on the run. I'll tell you what, we've talked a lot about Jay Barker today, and we've talked to the Mississippi State coaches, and it seems like the coaches, the people that understand football, really appreciate his talents more than any broadcasters or writers or anyone else in the country.
Well, they feel he's the heart and soul of this Alabama team, and that says it all. I mean, he finds a way to make plays and helps his team win.
First and 10 from the 45 with time, going deep, just overthrown. Todrick Malone, the intended receiver, and Charles Davidson was back on the coverage.
Mississippi State puts a lot of pressures on their two corners, Davidson and Harris. Davidson in single coverage on this, and you're going to see as you watch this the way Barker sees it, there's no safety in the middle of the field. So he throws this post pattern knowing that there's going to be no help from the inside, just a little bit too much muscle on the throw, a slight overthrow, but he had what he wanted, the one-on-one situation.
Mississippi State came into this game with only 14 sacks. They've got 3 so far today. As the pass is completed and still running hard, Terrence Lynch, as he's got the first down inside the 45 to the 44-yard line, where Walt Harris makes the tackle.
Well, this is a heads-up senior play, too. Terrence Lynch has been playing for a long time at Alabama, and he just does a great job making the play after the catch. Now, Barker's going to find him in his screen as an outlet receiver. Watch what he does at the end of this play. Hurdles over one player, breaks through 2 tackles, and gets that ball advanced to the first down.
3:10 left to go. First and 10, 44-yard line. Barker's going to swing it out to the near side. Williams was the intended receiver, had a little bit too much on the fastball that time. And incomplete. Clock stops with 3:05 to go. Mississippi State leads the nation in takeaways, 3.78 per game. They had 34 coming into this game. They've created a couple more here today, so they've got 36 on the year. They need one right now. Alabama trails by 3. A tie does them just as good as a win in the conference.
What for the
Barker pump fakes going to Williams. Yes, what a catch! 16-yard line, Sherman Williams.
What you're seeing right now is you are seeing the clutch players for Alabama come up and make plays in this ball game. Sherman Williams has had a very rough game running the football with the exception of 1 or 2 plays, but watch him lay out and make this play against the best defensive back. Now there's the linebacker, James, with Walt Harris coming over to help, but he lays out his body and makes the catch, a 28-yard completion. You're seeing the top players for Alabama rise to the occasion here in the 4th quarter and make plays.
First and 10, 16-yard line. Lynch gets a handoff inside, running hard inside the 10 to the 9. Walt Harris and Johnny Harris were there to make the tackle, and Jay Barker, 26 of 35, 300. and 25 yards and 3 touchdowns. And when Williams caught that pass, just his 11th reception of the year.
Take a look again now as they run a little trap. They fake the throw. They lead with the tailback in there, Dennis Riddle. He gets a good block on the linebacker, Curry, and Lynch running hard here late in the ball game. 2nd and 4. That's Riddle, the true freshman from Tuscaloosa. And he is close to the first down. Well, we've been watching the Mississippi State offensive line get a great push against Alabama. Take a look now. Watch the left side of the line and watch when Riddle hits the pile. Everything's just going to drive forward. He follows his fullback, never stops his legs moving, and the whole pile just moves forward for about 4 yards. That's a good surge by the left side of the offensive line. Maurice Belzer, Joey Harville. Clock continues to run as Williams takes the pitch, and he is down to the 2. 1:38 left to go. Are they working this clock and doing a job offensively on this drive? Timeout by Mississippi State, trying to regroup the defense here. That works for both teams. Mississippi State needs to call timeout. They need to collect themselves. Alabama, they get a free one now. They can go over and talk over the plays. But, you know, Roger, when I was a young junior high school athlete, my dad coached at the University of Kentucky, and they played Alabama, and a couple times Kentucky was playing very well, very competitively with Alabama, but when the game got to the 4th quarter, all the Alabama players on the sideline would hold up 4 fingers, and Alabama for years has always felt like they win ball games in the 4th quarter. That's what I was going to ask you about confidence. The fact that they are undefeated, the fact that they expect to win, and the fact that other teams really somewhere deep inside also expect them to win. As much as you want to believe in yourself, you look at them and you watch them and you say, you know, how do they beat people? But they do. And it's a belief really more than anything else. I mean, you've got to have talent, and it's a lot of things. But when you've won as many games as this Alabama football team has won in the last 4 years, it's a belief. And there's a big difference, Roger, between expecting to win and hoping to win. Both teams in this game have played exceptional football, but Alabama right now, with Jay Barker pulling the string, they expect to win this football game in the last minute and a half. Well, you saw the timeouts remaining. 3 for Alabama, just 1 for Mississippi State. Full house backfield with Haight, the tight end, lined up back there. Williams gets the ball, leans in, doesn't get much of anything as the clock will continue to run. That looked like old-time football right there. Wing tee off. Full house backfield. Clock ticking down now, so Mississippi State, even if they do get the ball back, and if Alabama kicks a field goal or scores, not going to have much time and only a timeout left. Well, as you mentioned, if they kick the field goal, it still works to their advantage in the SEC and for the Sugar Bowl. Might hurt them for a national championship, though. That's Riddle. Leans in. No call. Now a touchdown. Penalty marker. No. Yes, there is. There is a flag down at the 1-yard line as Riddle, the freshman, leaned in.
We have a face mask against the defense for touchdown.
So Alabama has come back. And the true freshman from Tuscaloosa, Dennis Riddle, is able to squeeze in. Take a look as they come right at us now. They pull the backside guard and tackle, and they just get a push on the pile. You can see the hand on the face mask. Dennis Riddle just follows that mass of blockers in front of him, and they get a big push on the left side. And Gene Stallings knows that his team has made a dramatic comeback here in the 4th quarter at Starkville. And now flags down as Proctor gets set to kick a big extra point at 28-25. He's kicked 93 straight.
On the defense.
And the offside against Mississippi State. 51 seconds left to go. The Bulldogs have 1 timeout remaining. This kid is 94 out of 95 in his career, and he's kicked 93 straight. Well, that's part of the sound kicking game, the sound special teams that is a trademark of Alabama. And he's got another one. 51 seconds left to go. 29-25. Alabama leads Mississippi State, and tomorrow night is $100,000 giveaway night on America's Funniest Videos, followed by new episodes of On Our Own and Lois and Clark. Then Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci star in the action movie. That's fun. Lethal Weapon 3, the network premiere tomorrow night on ABC. Can't be any more fun than this.
You know, Roger, a lot of people have made mention about the fact that Alabama's schedule, they don't play as tough of a schedule. As we take a look at the touchdown again, watch the push on the left side of the offensive line. Just great, just a will to get in the end zone by the offensive line, by the tight ends here late in a very hard-fought ball game. Alabama willed themselves into the end zone there for the go-ahead touchdown.
Don't you know, Jackie Sherrill wants Eric Moulds to be able to touch the ball.
I would not kick it anywhere near him. I mean, because they made that extra point, I would even take the chance of kicking it out of bounds and giving them the ball on the 35-yard line, because a field goal doesn't beat you or tie you now. They've got to get it to the end zone. You don't want him to get the ball and get the ball up past the 50-yard line.
Barker's thrown for 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. Watts to kick it off for Alabama, and he's going to send it deep. This kid has got a huge leg, and we're going to down it.
That's the other alternative.
Yeah.
Kick it out of the stadium.
Wild Things hit a couple of straight ones today. 29-25 as Alabama has come back from a 10-point deficit. They were trailing 25-15. And if Mississippi State cannot come back and Alabama wins, they clinch the SEC West for the 3rd year in a row. And Mississippi State wins, they remain in contention for the title. A tie, Alabama clinches the SEC West. So here we go. Derek Tate, 51 seconds, 1 timeout from his 20. Moulds has got his man deep. Can he run underneath of it? It's just past his outstretched hands.
Wow. Tommy Johnson was beat on the play. He's the best cornerback, but credit Bruce Arians, the first play of the 2-minute offense, the hurry-up offense, to just go for the bundle right now and watch Moulds just run by Tommy Johnson, but he just couldn't track himself back to the football. Nice throw by Derek Tate getting it out there, and Moulds had a touchdown if he comes down with that catch.
2nd and 10.
Prevent defense now. Deep safeties for Alabama.
Tate down the middle. Kenny Causey was the intended receiver and just overthrown. Well, will the Alabama mastery over Mississippi State in Starkville continue? They are 11-0 against the Bulldogs here in Starkville and 40-0-1 when scoring 17 plus. We talked about that at the start of the 4th quarter. They've gotten over those 17 points, trailing 25-15 at one point in time. 3rd down and 10.
If I'm Tommy Johnson, I want some help over here with Eric Moulds on this side of the field.
Tate's in trouble. He just throws it up for grabs. And getting out of bounds, a good, smart play right there. Trying to see the number, if that was Greer. Nakia Greer, the fullback. So that'll bring up a 4th down, and a good job by Derek Tate just to get rid of the football.
Well, Alabama's a good pass rushing team, but they're able to pin their ears back now. They had trouble with the running game all afternoon, but now they know the run is not a threat against them. They just want to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
And Jackie Sherrill wants to use his last timeout. With 30 seconds left to go and a 4th down and 4. Mississippi State's been very successful in 4th down situations in the 4th quarter. They've made 5 of 6. They had a great comeback against Tennessee earlier this year. Scored on a 4th down play.
You know, Derek Tate has proven to this team, even though he's a young quarterback, that he can lead this team from behind late in the ball game. He's directed them to 2 last-minute wins already this season. You mentioned the Tennessee game. He also did it against South Carolina. So, I mean, he has the confidence, and I think his team would have the confidence in him that he can lead his team in a situation like this. But now it's now or never. 4th and 4, you've got to make the 1st down. And with only 30 seconds left and no timeouts, I mean, you've really got to get into a situation where you kill the clock, throw the ball on the ground, work it to the sidelines.
Tate, a sophomore from Moss Point, Mississippi, has played exceptional football in this 4-game winning streak. The last time Mississippi State won 5 games in a row was back in 1980. Included in that 5-game winning streak was their last victory over Alabama, which occurred in Jackson, Mississippi. They've lost 35 of the last 36 to the Crimson Tide.
Alabama called a timeout.
And Alabama, this is a little chess match between Stallings and Sherrill, the 2 head coaches.
Well, I think right there what Bill Oliver wanted to do was to allow them to come up and line up. They wanted to see where Eric Moulds was going to line up and then call timeout and base their coverage around that, hoping now that Mississippi State will not change their play or their formation. But Bruce Arians might just do that now that both teams have called timeout.
Interesting, you take one of the best teams in the nation in scoring defense and one of the better defensive teams the last several years in Alabama, and really a Mississippi State team that has been very impressive. It's got a little bit better each week on defense, and this turns into a 29-25 game where the onus is on the offense.
You know, I think Jackie Sherrill has to be pleased with his team. They have played as well as he could have expected them to play, but as we talked about, as Alabama was going in for that last touchdown, this game simply came down to a situation where Alabama had been in those kind of games. Jay Barker, the quarterback, had been in those kind of games. Sherman Williams had been in those kind of games. And they expected to win the football game. And the key guys, the key seniors, made the plays at the end of the game to get them the lead right now, 29-25. Mississippi State has put up a valiant effort. Derek Tate has played exceptionally well. Both running backs, Bowie and Davis. Eric Moulds, I mean, there's been all kind of heroes from Mississippi State, but Alabama, a team that has been tested in the 4th quarter.
4th down and 4. And Penn State's moved ahead of Illinois. Tate is hit. Tate is hit. Damian Jeffries was the man that got in there and got a piece of his arm. And Alabama, with 25 seconds left and a 4-point lead, has made the comeback. And the comeback guy was Jay Barker.
Well, Damian Jeffries, I'll tell you what, he had his hands full stopping this running game all day, but he's an excellent pass rusher, and he's the guy that got in there and got the deflection, knocked the ball loose of Derek Tate. And again, take a look at it now from the end zone. Here he is right here. He's going to get a great pressure on the outside, get his arm on the arm of Derek Tate and knock the ball loose.
So the 4th down conversion doesn't work. That's going to be it from Starkville as the clock will just wind down, and Alabama led back by Jay Barker. They trailed 25-15 with 7:57 to go after Rogers kicked the field goal to give Mississippi State that 10-point lead, and Barker leads them back in what a great performance by the senior. Our Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. From the University of Alabama, Jay Barker, 3 touchdown passes today. And from Mississippi State, their outstanding wide receiver, Eric Moulds, who caught a couple of touchdown passes and caught a 2-point conversion. So, for Brian Holloway, Todd Blackledge, I'm Roger Twibell. Thanks so much for being with us from Starkville. 29-25, Alabama beats Mississippi State once again. Good night, everybody.